endless possibilities. Coastal TV, a world of endless possibilities.
Coastal TV, I want to dancing. I mean, show. Now, my main car also said, so what should share it? Facebook, or better type Coastal TV Cape Coast, or type Coastal TV Cape Coast. I was a Facebook. And I say, a YouTube sign, and what type of Coastal TV and Cape Coast. Coastal TV, okay. And also, also a YouTube. Now, only a chair, and that's so, and you are your walk now, your day at Brom. I did actually, yeah. Any kind of pass die, that people as that can think young farmer or two for and then I'll bring beer. Came down you. I'm sorry, I'm okay. Senya and not doing me pa or do me. Kebi ano painful yanka as a form. Name divine selection. Ebia kaye. Ebia so. Ebia so. And internet says, say, ya dear Sada. At the man of gratitude is a man. Here it is, so that's as when you are no a NJ, as say, so I was say fast that I say, if I'm more tune for now. Yes, sounds fast that wow, share some medin can you ya near sound so the as that can so at their ma ya boafo. It's almost so, yes, sorry, or more and a dear muache say. Coastal TV akwani abenyi na ye no omo a ebusuano omo ka ho bi na meka ya boafo a na meka safa National Petroleum Authority NPA eho na omo se yenfa nkratoi emfa mbrel se wonkwa ho hia nti bomodian se ekwa bi abefa so a obebo wonkwa ho ban no obefa so na nyankopon de otesoro ho na ohwe so Otonsu papa gu yeso ehwaya se etie mpa bosi ye benya nkwa tenten atena asase so ache nemum efa bi so no ejina ye mienu yeso ejina menne wo eso se ubenyi enya nkwa tenten a efa bi so no so ejina wo so ne senti na NPF for se enka nche se eye na se o wote se petrol tank bi anya accident a medofo e memben ho menkwaje hwe wo ho enkopa hwe e wo ho na emom no bomodian se obetena echire na odi abon ho ban stay back and stay safe NPA for se me fan kratwe emfamrel na miyensa na misan so de asedan biem ama amimens hardware and finishes o show machi kwan ya tietietie anya yura kwan omo wo opposite Orange House and also say opposite Cape FM eho na obehu amimens hardware and finishes e dey na oton o se me kan cho say owo paint owo decorative materials ne wo de be decorative walls owo tiles ne wo de be ebe decorative kitchen bathroom hefa room bia a opetas dey say on kwa de on sabeka na paint ni say me din kan no every brand bia no owo bi ewo ho owo kettles owo TVs deep freezers oh kasa me kan yenye nwie yo nti wo de kosha de go and watch something one kasa say hey azana people when chantro me chantro nti for when kosha de I men's hardware and finishes na minsanso fa asede di ho enkoma the taste kitchen services our Abra Market Kofi Apon cluster of stores na the taste say aduane ne de aduane ne wedi amo akoma to yem nya ne obebobuom ubewie na fe wonu hu say twom de bi na emom no so opejuane papa bia ata bomodin ase wodi wani betrem wo the taste kitchen services se ne medi nkan no owo Abra Market Kofi Apon cluster of stores no ehon as the ohwehwe na ubehu no osanso se menkan che se oye delivery services ufie offices schools churches mo pesa mo order number ni nie 024 285 0652 and also say 027 031 8324 and 024 316 7768 the taste kitchen services ko hona aduane papa bia open no onsa ebeka me wie ne sa na me wie mentumi emma me we mfi Disal gift shop wo Interbetin Junction hona traffic light na se pe hono mo wo Disal say men kan show say sa wo pa chedie bi na ya wrap ho wo pese wan kasa mpo to na nko wrap wa de wo kwa kware ama list wo pese won toto niema na ya wrap ne fefefe e de ma Bomodiana for wani chim ewo Disal gift shop Interbetin Junction hona eye traffic light na se eho na omowo. Last but not the least eye Nesto Ventures. What Nesto Ventures say oye home appliances na mukenkon home appliances na master usan no ho pe wa se kokromoti no usan no ho ntimi mbopoda bomodian se obekọ eye Nesto Ventures na ne ohwehwe bia nso no onsa ebeka abafoi na no pay ya de asada no de ma wo mo me ametena ha ya medi dwumadi yi na ho chia me no midin de AFIBA ESSIEN ya da aboafo asesa dia. Let's get into the matters of the day, matters arising. Me say ensem wo ho ensem akese ensem polo ensem etu akoma ebi wo ho yen nim se ensuo no esifom ai eje nya aba na ensuo no esifom ensuo na esifom ni nyina so no simo say Cape Coast so that we have gotten our fair share of rains ankasa na watchwe ya yesi mu de ensuo no one ya na ekọ na eba onja ye kra anope wie nwume de suo mahomache na ensuo no eto eno so na say if the foundation is weak, the fundamentals are weak, the system will expose you. And this system of rain is exposing a whole lot of things. In Raho, God, Tessa, Mabuso, Uncrofo, Dedan, SCC, Sioma, and Sio Fawomo, Chester, and Nina, in Sio and Fast Adan, so Crompa, not Obia, or Tin in China. What's in if your baby school be or in China, baby? No, in Sio, Fana, Chester, a year, a botany summer, or Jim, one say. Anthem basic school anthem MA basic school hey where you hwena no hey and rather nsuo fa wom nsuo afa the whole school compound ha odwen ho a wonte ase. And according to information I gather, and this is not the first time nsuo fa wom nsuo ta form nsuo no ta form nsuo just nsuo na mpete enya pete cha ya e ho be flood school ho nyinara be flood. Now we anya the first time na every year AFIBA ensuo efa wo mo no na ye bisa se first of all yen started from headmasters any school authorities PTA e dey na mo ya fa sa situation we ho nti me kan jam say na wonya we because bibi I see every year nti no every year bia esi no e dey na maye ede na muguso a moye na ebia mo kompanyifo no so no ede asem na okache o why ensenche ni DC Kwame Kwache ono ye adwuma wo Radio Central na obo moden di nani ko hwa ade wo Anthem Basic School na otwaye ede to Facebook na Coastal TV ensa kan bi na otimi hu say school ho nyinara swimming pool emma na se ko ba ne science na atwi wura ahodo pa e de akọ school mo because enim say as usual yanom omodo omo ballers na kwa kogu gata mu ho ne ade enti sensuo no to na e flade a e school mu ha e na betwi wura na ko nsuo no betwetwe awie na efi student a omo kosua ade wo school mu ho no unhu se omo kwa kosua ade o se omo ye den o because students ben pa na betimi anya sound mind e de esua ade because so the classroom wo krampo na nsuo sha asese epete a wo say eh nsuo be fa yo ene e ba ne sa na emergency e wo say school mpanyimfo no ehwe na omo pon e ma mofa ne ko because anko ba ne sa nye besi nye na ye mpese bibi mpo besi ntia ne wo so mo pon tentempo e ma nkola ne ko school e ba ne sa ye mi say wo say e de ne ye de ye mofra no omo humesua. Education is a key to success na ye ka no ye mfa ya no nka no kwawo. And say best starting so I started from the basic level. This is a basic school at Anthem. And na insuo afọ mo say basic school na nsuo afọ mo say nti akwala no kwa ade no besua nsuo no ahwehwe wie no so no bola o mo betie free school mu ho no nya agro na afi akwakoye general cleaning ne communal labor e wo say mofra na e na twitwi school mu ho scrubbing konwa ne gutters ahodo. What are we doing to ourselves as a country first of all, and then as a me can say Cape Coast CCMA, what are we doing to ourselves? But me no, me did say Bibia bear fine. Coastal TV, I can't answer me say it will only get better. But the question is when and who is going to lead that better change? Mami bie phone lines no enfantum na anope ye number ye didi djuma no eye 0508 206 4846. Sorry, mami nsi subiem 0508 206 846. Last one 0508 206 846. And no any phone lines. Freya na any enche what is going on in your neighborhood? Umpotem ho na ade na ekosto. Insuo no esi from sa no. Ade na ekosto wo umpotem. Also umpotem aflade. School bi wo umpotem aflade. Asori bi wo umpotem ofi aflade ana. Nsuo afaw. Freya na enche. Ne ekosto ewo umpotem. O friends so aya na oni ya che ne ekoso mpanyimfo anamo omutu ede afa ho Monday ya I think Wednesday or Tuesday no ba ko na briwa ekwan ne so ekọ Accra no eso nyina eye nsuo fa ho nyina ho na obehu nadmo mpanyimfo even the regional director himself and some district directors edidi eche omukọ ho mdo moni ko share ade. This is no news. Every year we ask us ade we esia we mpanyimfo ni nadmofo ni omo mbeka se mpanyimfo obi ekọ ho ade nani ko hwe se ade na ekoso ye kwa kogina ho oh na Coastal TV there camera ba. So honorable, what do you think is going on? What are you going to do to help solve the situation? No mama speech 10 brofa kese bro for talk of a dictionary now be show me say dey normal can because I no mo dibiri ye ni so afei nsuo ni nya tepe aye se pete no nsuo to bia o se obesi dan nsuo ni nya se ana ni we fi se o kan se obesi dan bibia ye di be gu akwam amasa ade ensensi biem no ye we fi asa ye lose your memory no nothing, zero to nothing. Nkrofo ekotua sika ema whoever is in charge esisi dan ewo waterways, waterlogged areas. CCMA me nyanja ma asem kan o mo hwe mo ni guso mo bi mo ya aware of nkrofo esisi dan nanso enam say oye big person nti no or woni V8 woni sika na kakra be pocket nti no mo nkasa na ma ye din obi anka ho hwe Senchi man ba da chi bi pa na so mbe hu sa de ya o mbe boye so wo se adenti na ye ma mere ye da nonom ye papa mo o motena ho ma sa de e call so. Making our communities even better, let's leave no one behind. Asem na Coastal TV ye kano. Enye just for talk kekeo. We nyina e ka ho bi. Enye antem nkwa na nsuo fa omo Cape Tech. Hein. Me say when the fundamentals are weak, the system will expose you. Papa no kan asem no ntwantro. Cape Tech. Technical school where you hwina no heya, Coastal TV you hwina no heya. So nsuo fa wo mo. Nsuo fa wo mo. Nsuo fa wo mo. Besha na mo fe omo ho aye mobo sei. Because omo hu ade omo nye. Na no be dey.
Morning.
Ono students na dey no ba be.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mbocho me.
Basho me ho ya na nso e wudi ni baby a ukasa free.
Mbocho from the mayor because I sit down.
Yo, Basho entiel.
Mbocho and runs no pain. Kotokoba reading. Ne enjo kra, I will say gates amamafun omutu we ku gates ni mu. Ti enja de ne enjo kra so you all pictures so see this nti di besinye nti musemo amunka bibi me why
Yate e beka bibi ama ya da ase so sa wafre ya da ase Kotokraba market so aflade na kola no kana no pay no na asema o kan so che se emma e ton ade wo dwom ho omoa no musan so etu nwura egu kata ni mu can you imagine den ye hu e den pa na ye hu oti dwom ho wo ton ade ha e hwa na wunya osika fi o nenti watu nwura egu gata mu e say gata na flood na afa edwom ho nyina no nkrofo ne ma ebe fo eka nkrofo bebo emfa ho you don't care because ebi kra na nkan shop me kan wo shop wo show ho na wo see from betu niema eyi bola egu gata ni mo dan ho nti mo dan ho no na ebre wa wo so ho no wa ma wonan so egu wiem na wo so air condition emfa ho because anya wo shop oyonko da no da o oyonko da eno da ya me kan say mo say account na nti na account so ya na bi mo nti ase an sa de ato oyonko ani na ato ani e wo se ye de share etrim sa men ka say oyonko kwa na enya onso anya bi. Just look at this. This is Brewer Road. Brewer Road. Not just say, in soon, oh. Cars in corner car, but the traffic, oh, that day no so quite crowd be no. Now, for cars to cross, say, I was almost parking at this scene chain. I knew a Brewer Road. Mammy, I'm back to Kotokraba Market. Hono. Sans ends me now, and some can. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Market Queen Mothers. Monfa munensi form. Monfa munensi form. Market Queen Mothers. Yenim say, market women no. Esan say omo mudi no omo efari manim na omo nim say dwuma no betimi ayenti na omo de sa position no e de share omo nsa. Samo kasa omo betie dodo. Samo kasa omo betie ansa na ye beka se yemfa asem no mpo emfa nko CCM ni enko sobi ana so say involve na bia na so market queen mothers yensa se emfi ye fie charity begins at home. Market queen mothers monfa mo nan ensi form edwom hemafo ene edwom henefo ema mo nje position ne keke se me edwom hema me edwom hene na waye kokoti na wote da bi ye edwuma number ni 0508 206 846 0508 206 846 Freye na ni enche ne ekoso wo mpotem nso esi fomin a baby ye man oti Cape Coast oti outside Cape Coast Western region mpo na wo a Freye na ni enche ne ekoso wo ho sanse se mi edika yan kan ho na beka Se Coastal TV anka, why nebeka? Your own face, your own voice, na ye logo, ye slogan, no, ye anka, ye no kasa keke. Ye jidi say your own face, your own voice. 0508 206 846. 0508 206 846. Friend and near chum come. My auntie. That's a big how would the gym near she show out now to me a can't the way she show for me to Coastal TV me. Me to Coastal TV me. But say, wow, what's on put them wo juma war markets wo fear na in suya found one I'll bet me a trim the way it's here. Into Bomadiana fair and near Enkasa. Flooding issue, Cape Coast has say near can once a man pay. Now, you didn't so enjoy what Tankasa and so tall say a top and you say pitting. A Tankasa. Now it's me say every AFIBA problem crona na paying for bejina ho no more speech ahodro na media men ye corner ye bani en na munsuo mu na ye kasa brofo akese me say that da no brofo on confirming can be done on beka. But after that nothing. She no more. She no me. But away from that, so say ye can't pay for no person. Away from that, ye ain't memu for no. We have a role to play in all this. On mine be ya a jinameno so. So mine be ya a jinameno me so. Well, we need to say wadam for be the store. Akwa see waterlogged area waterway baby nsuo ta efa we the ne store akwa see ho store chenchirenche or the akosi ho ablock nsuo ne kwan unim se ho na nsuo fa na wo yonko na akwa akoye we ni tia o se so me dem fa me ho ona opeso oye ne oye no waye onya ne ope se nsuo ne to na se efa ofi a obanna se nsuo no to na se nya fa ofi a Obakwe. Ube who something. Me who red ankasa. Ona ube who se sana enya wo nyonko na wunua no enti no eno no kwan na enya. Na mom ye nyina na enya. When you see something, say something. Wo hu se oyonko tun ragu gatamu ka bie wano na ka o ka wu police ni bia nchewo. When we say obi since you esidan wo baby nsuo fa nsuo kwan mu ka bie wano na ka na we dey say sikani o we dey wo ni sika na me kokko kape anhwe ko obema lawyer fa ka be wano ka o ton ade ba kwa mehu ewo omanfo Cape Coast ha ho ni say omo mpese omo be ka omasem da bia omo hwe say omo yonko na enkoka. Imagine say Coastal TV yakọ out e we say na yakọ akoye engagement na ye no manfo na yakọ akokasa bra wo be bra nsa na wonya nipa ama na bie na no akasa e ha yeti ye hawni bra wo be bre no this a won krokro nipa kro no won dede no fa na da kwan bi so on sugar coaty nsama wo be ka no ansa na nipa kro bie na no say oba beka bibi how no wan kan me hu at the end of the day wona wo bre papa ne kan asam no mo na mo ble wona wo bre ya ba wo potem ya de microphone atoa ya de ye studio machines atoa community connect ne ade ya say omanfo e wo ha yi mo na mo te ha enti no mommra monim na mo meka ne e ha mo enche mpanyimfo na mo sonso nte osimin kasa na won kasa me na meka ma se wan kasa mi minim utrim minim ne ekoso e bia na me nye me no net ho se me ti ho bi dia na me say oh okay we ni na ekoso basa me ti ho bia me de hu when you say something uhu bibi aka bibi bibi nkoye ka ye de asem bi di mu e wo mu potam ye de masase bi anka ye waterways no empeyfo agisika monkofo sidan wo so ka as a community your voice are loud are very very loud mo was nipa kwa na sha say o sidan my ye demonstration che say my ye kire kese ahye ties na de menka say monko ties but mon kasa the point of the whole thing is that kasa now kasa ye kasa now kasa ye one kasa utiri ho a ye we yibone me usani am pie boy na to ha say next time nti kasa now kasa ye can you imagine say basic school moi senior high school moi Cape Tech Kotokraba market oh dear near hu at the end of the day and na banyo nye say na banye say aba sister brother wo de wo ye den fine aban e wo hoso be ye niam bi de amai you too what are you doing for yourself so ya na kwato ball egu eyi gata mu wi abeka sa aban mesesa what oti market ho otu ball egu gata ni mu uye wura e de hihye corners uya akasa aban what aban me den o so hin onye uden let's do something for ourselves yankasa nso yemfa yensa nye bibi ma ye ho yemma yen community no ehun hia ye yemman ho hia ye ene bibi ana aban be ya ma do something for yourself ye frɛ communal labor kra momma o hye ne fie da ebo be 10 na ya makwan so obi anko adwuma na no akobie store no atu ni car no namu emfa ne ho after all what yes national sanitation day on kobi o hye o da nsi o fa ne fie a no sanso tiem kem sa abanyo na abanyo onya oden ona de bola nkogu gata ni ona de bola nkogu ense san suban na emwaye suban ni nye emwaye. That is a matter on flooding. Somebody can no phone lines no ye be still and the good screens no so no obetimi afa na onso aka share ne ekoso ewo mpotem what is going on in your neighborhood. Frenakasa use your voice. Frenakasa share wadwen kan wasem na opesa wo kan asem che nyankopon aka kire mframa beti no de akonya okoma nyankopon sanete Frenakasa Frenakasa you now moving on to other matters efenefoforo bi aba yedi ayin efenefoforo aba yedi ana eze oti unama na oti kotwa mattress kotwa mattress kotwa ompa kona kotwa ompa ene ne efenefoforo aba yedi o obi a want say that ebi bizam say eh na everybody na ekoso yi ensem paulo bi a ekoso no Mr. Chinese for the obekuye o mbekuye but you ombekuye so you Chinese for yi ombekuye but you Ghana for anso mo pade efo ade efo bekumo ade efo bekumo kona kotwa ompa ene say wiki ma na watwe ma na videos bi etwagu on internet no so etwagu o be hwa na we kitasika na o twa ne mattress sana Chinese company a we put the ashaman asem na mika yes Chinese mo bi ho mo na mo produce sa mattress ankofo toyi na mattress ne de anka ye de foam on sa foam material atofotofo na ye de mattress no anka no bi ne ye de Chinese for the rubber and can you imagine? Omo the rubber styrofoam. Oh, sa material now. Omo the a takeaway pack. Takeaway pack na ye indomie wo mu na dia sa material na omo the sa takeaway pack no. Any material na obeto with TV na asa white material na ehhehye ho no se na be ya ebo a protective TV no sa material no bi and no na Chinese fuei omo de mattress. Ema nipa da so. And it's I'll come and the explanation. I'll come in chiremu. It's now best story na we chi o kon o dompe u jonku ni nara eya oya. Uti ni na papa. In fact, all that sampan grandpa na on so die papa. But so die na ponko bi di we chi o chase you. O be so die na o swim with the mama wa test. I ask mo. Ni na sana Chinese for na ye. Omo de rubber na eye mattress na ka also omo de foam wonim foam. Isa my grandfather sofa na omo de nnua ebobo omo wi na omo de foam atutum no sa foam no and no bi ne ye mattress no and no ni original product I say ye mattress. And bi na mum se se amino ka say no ukotwa wo mattress na eye rubber papa bi o mi krom say ashigolo ayawka ashigolo ayawka what to sikego ntimwa motor mattress 2000 Ghana cedis 1005 mattress bi kwa ton 900 cedis what auto mattress 900 cedis 9 million mattress papa yanto 9 million mattress papa yanto 1005 mattress papa nya 3000 mattress papa ne boarding ne board ye den ne mom no auto papa preko eye auto papa preko eye Ghana Standard Authority GSA 4 and it see wo mu hugu Chinese malls ahodo e mo sha se fi asha man ho no we say na hwehwe mu kire se last year and omo call ho ekobo omo kokose juma na omo di no eye illegal nti omo njai just last year no omo hu yo and omo warning say sa plastic rubber na omo di ye empa magana for eda so no omo njai omo close it down so omo sesa sa omo way of production no na omo fa proper material enye bed ema Ghana for na so parts omo si go where you who are you to tell us what to do omo ntie man fa won na anyehwe last year August or so and this year they almost see enough is enough. But me Ghana Standard Authority for Abaso, even though in a way I feel like this should have been done a long time ago. Nka we na nka wasi a long time ago. Me wa madam fubi. Ono no say bibia eye product a ewo edwaman so no. Eye safe to consume, water, drinks, biscuits, whatever bia no. Eye safe to consume because according to ono no Ghana Standard Authority ahwe sanyema ni nyina ansa na eba edwaman so ama Ghana for atedi nti bibia ye ewo Ghana edwaman so na chese Ghana Standard Authority ensa hyase na sese na mo kan hye me se mattress a ebia me da so eye rubber na in my head me wogidie wo Ghana Standard Authority me say we na nka so maso ano de dada na afei na mo ba be kan hye me say maso ano no what are you trying to say? Yansha video we abra na GSA mpanyin foni bi ma ene central for edi nkoma na omo chim sentia and okita list so okita list of enema na esese omo jai ton a omo njai ton even bulbs light bulbs in poka o de yentie video no yansha video ni bi
people ask of questions what we are going to do about the retail sector, and I told you that I will never vouch where the plants are. So you see, from the main factory, we have moved to China Mall. This is one of the distribution centers we've identified. You have seen some of the mattresses that we seized from the manufacturing site. when we came, they only show us one. That is one, but we decided to go down, and this is what we have found. The mattresses are here. And per our law, Section 44, we have the power to enter any premises upon reasonable grounds. If we suspect that you are doing something illegal, manufacturing or process anything under Section 44, we have the power to enter. We're not doing anything illegal. It is within GSA Act 1078. So it is not only the mattresses. We also have issues with electrical bulbs. We sample about 15 electrical bulbs. All of them have failed. I hold in my hand, as you can see, Ghana Standard Authority. It is not me. This is from our lab. Now, per the test that we conducted, we have what we call luminous flux. The standard is that luminous flux is the minimum is 360 lumens. Luminous flux is measured in lumens. The luminous flux talks about the brightness of the bulb. So when you buy a bulb, maybe you're going to buy LED bulb, they are saying it's 15 watts. It's supposed to bright to a certain luminous. But what we have sampled, this is 15 watts. The minimum per the standard is 360. Theirs is 51. This is below the average by about 300%. It has failed. It's not only about the luminous flux. We have issues with their labeling. They label most of the items in Chinese. This is not a Chinese country. So they have failed both in the quality evaluation, they have failed in the labeling. So we are here on the mattresses, also here on the electrical front. Electrical is something that we call high risk goods. These are things that can cause fire. Imagine you and I will suffer for 20, 30 years to build our homes, just to come and buy a bulb or extension cord. Through no fault of us, your house is raised to the ground. So, as GSA, as far as GSA is concerned, we are the managers of the national quality infrastructure, and it behoves on us to make sure that substandard products such as this are taken off the market. So, as we speak now, we've asked the managers to bring us 10 men of theirs. We're going to make sure that they pack all those bulbs, pack the mattresses. We're going to secure them and lock that place up. We don't want to lock the whole mall because it's not all the items that we have issues with at the mall. That would be going beyond our boundaries. We have identified things that are in the mall that are for sale, that are substandard. So we are moving them to a secure location. Then we'll shut that place down. Thank you.
Enze uzavoi kucha umpa. Kucha umpa. Kucha umpa o. Beshana rubber na odaso. Ba story na we chini na ra. What's me bo home? Enra a Ghana Standard Authority omo call China mall ho. Any malls ahudo bia na omo yiyi bulbs ni ade. Aha, kwadwon cancel we mpo twa no mpa. O de wo kotwa mpa. Kwadwon cancel we. Empo e twa ne mpa o. Onu bo bi ka so woni sika no ye de rubber egu no. Ye de rubber. E de breed edi so. Eje. Na wa woti ashamai, woti pedu ukotwa ompa. Tna ho. Dey. Aya samo. Chinese for on. Omo prayer. Me, for a very long time, I've not had any confidence. It was Chinese production companies, especially those now. Ghana, I best so I say, production was saying, me enjoy Monday. But because I don't have a choice, your country is not producing the same thing that they are producing, and so you need alternative. So at the end of the day, fake. Because sometimes to share videos I feel or more China memo or no eba. What mo say any more use or no quality. Good for them. But share rubber sa ho do aya pile so ha say ye de be hye mpa ama omanfo ada so Ghana fo ada so. Share rubber pa o ma pile wa ha say. Omo produce no ma omo wi no ma hye omo de atata so. Nze na efo by mattress no kwota. 1 year na ehi o. Wa mo go do mattress na mo say he and say papa no sorry I'm so sorry 1 year na mattress ni here din just a war din as a tapolino e bounce say rubber now that's why rubber now that's so and a video be am share say or no Chinese national now or ye illegal things in Ghana no o san so air resist arrest na e soldiers for air crocro no me say what Ghana ni anka ba na wa just lap na edi kan mo crocro but anyway ye here say they are doing the right thing now. They are doing the right thing now. That's the most important thing I think. I was here sharing but Ghana Standard Authority, media, I'm so disappointed. I'm very, very disappointed in you people. I'm very, very disappointed. I'm very disappointed because this is long overdue. Kawasa maye way da da. Kawasa maye way da da. Afeina. Munya ho amoye. And that rubber no swatch. Yeah, that's swatch. You know me, that swatch. Yeah, that's swatch. Obi enya whispin, obi sisi achia because of empower. That's what unim say to me cause sound. They play with your life, eh? When you na a shaking. Don't say omo sha say omo hwehwe mattress ni mu no omo akwa ko hu say sana bobs bi a ye use e wo Ghana hampo na sa Chinese for no e produce no mpo no sana ye fake low quality. Say last time na me can show so Conesto Ventures na kwaje bobs papa no me can won te ase because omo for Chinese things omo ne ma no omo for free China more. Any Chinese companies, Papa Nibi, UK produced, certified. Among your man, some of the bag, Ghana Standard Authority, a check, and we say, good. Conesto Ventures, not what you would make kind one, say. Now you see what I'm talking about? Could to be one change one year, this, this one. It was on for. Ghana yet and some home. It's in some home. It's in some. You say ye mubino ye need the technological know-how. Was that bulbs and pioneer de obi crampo. Anya de obi hu say bulb na akoto no fake. Jesus Ghana Standard Authority ana mo boy na some am boy na mo yesi ya. Mo train for last minute say ya. Na moya Ghana for day. Yes, Remo. Mumma mumuso. Enya bob no kwane mattress no kwan. There are lots of food, aduane, food and drugs board mo so mo de no. Mo so mo de no. Enuane bebre na wo ye market ne so ye shops, ye supermarket, ye malls that. Under normal circumstance, eni say edi. There are some biscuits I am for mankola. I am paying for Nady, but who knows? Do you know this? You don't know. Not everybody knows. Or no do na oh me ban soon me pay biscuits at their man in no. Oh dear, mommy biscuits are saying 2 cities, where 5 cities. Oh, them 2 cities ni ba me function it. If you are not biscuits no crampo no. Akwala ni say and it's not good for the child. If you can't have biscuits and ingredients be on the no, akwala no ya allergic to. We say one more baby biscuits we dear we feel we no why ya she when ya rashes on tia say obeka say anopa mpo ni hwe no we fi say biscuits na okotoye na. Ghana Standard Authority, money a Food and Drugs Authority. Yes, Remwa. Mumma mumuso na den yenya Ghana phobia na. Mumma mumuso. Na munye adwuma. Na munje position some margin sa keke. Yes, re adaroma. Munye adwuma no mai why? Ye mo ye ni obi a obeka ya asema mai. Ye ni obi a ye ni lawyer bi obeka ye betimi esiw a company bi an access supermarket bi ni ye lawyer akwa di ama ye ni sky dey fa lawyer. Yes, re. Mo ana mo beboy. nti yesra munye adwuma ne maye yo and also see one of the matters arise now away from that video bi e twegu e wo internet ne so eni nyan odofo ano odin video be na meka ho asem ya e bia wo hu ne meka na video no mu no senior high school nkola mienu students mienu bi ba ko ye senior na ba ko ye junior na omoku na omuko school eye Adan Senior High Technical School Greater Accra hono when it all boils down to matters of indiscipline in our schools and bullying in our schools na senior ne tra junior no awia obi uniform na junior ne se kwat me wia uniform zakwaya back and forth wa fa oh na senior na twese kan blantain ni bio kotokro du dia ni bi ye de don twese kan wo ni junior no so me say yen video no na yenhu ne esiye nti ebe video na chem enche kra wa twese kan blantain wo ni junior no so all because o se we wi ade o se miss o se wo wi ai we wi mi wi ai we wi mi wi ai oh o threaten no say wo who an kan we use I'll kill you before you complete school che akoya boxing bo senior high school student o che blantain ne kuta no kotokro du o grandfather de ni bi kotokro na watwe wo ono ankasa ni fellow students so adent ono ye junior ono ye senior na na ba ko na ohye white no ye junior daily view gh video ni daily view gh she the way all bunu yonko asa ne wanya ni yemba wo bunu obunu yonko asa ne wanya ni yemba she me every day bia me de school me kwaya me de be example fa wo betimi aka chem say bia na girl school ntia but girl indisciplines happens in every school. It doesn't matter whether it's a girl school, whether it's a boys school, and also say a mixed. It doesn't matter how angry a senior is. Only me fan sanka junior that in my school can never happen. So obi be bu obi say you twa sum abuash and blow on en parts. School authorities no we ye adwuma. We junior akọ report say senior bi abuli wa bo abro bi a ensa so obo. Abra wonye hwe we are not at fault. Ni hia ni say wonya wo fellow other juniors or mo testify say ampa. Na say senior bi so bo modern ko testify say yeah na me so bi wa oh it is finished for the senior no bo. Emrane ni be di no. My school. When name is school, I'm required. See me in chambers. I'll tell you. No, in fact, my main car said that me from to me. Because Archbishop Pastor Girls Secondary School, Takra did the making. Proper school, very nice school. I want who bullying way or who bullying way. I want me school. Students bullying fellow students. It's like a system. They are a war. But say junior bi or say me provisions cry a Jew school more na senior bi age what in my school. And I'm using my school as an example because I feel like the systems now you put in authorities no any year you school more no. Other school authorities are not able to do it like that. And it is festering this kind of bullying activity a behavior the senior high schools ma and yet it's high time I was say you can't want them. Now some say other students no so mujina nchen na omu sa die ya omu fellow students sa bullying ya because you omu bono say hey omu budget of so be create video be the video students and the video we students and the video here otwa ye bone yonko nyame amfafie na se ne ye bono no okopira na afofie anto ata sebi preduasa ofiri mu a emfa no ho ogina nche na wo video na omo amaka so ye budget so hwe so obi ti bed ne so awanwenwen ne sen osere emfa no ho. What kind of future leaders are we raising in this country? Are these the future leaders we are raising? And here Ghana any future? We don't have a future. So these are the future leaders are you raising Ghana or my Ghana has said, and we do not have a future. And I say it with my full chest that we don't have a future. And to wait, Obenya Babe parliamentarian. Obenyina be assembly member and shokra no obi di ade wo obenyina be nana ochia me abusua panin onya be president wo baba wo fi a wo titina onyi ni kunu ka nkofo we ho ni kunu ka ho onya be ware nipa bi sei da chi ono so be wo mba to ba boni we ode benya be panin boni aba be wo nkola boni wo society nim na ye koye nim ana ye bai. Are these the future leaders we are raising, especially in our senior high schools? This is unacceptable. This is appalling. Ayet time inya yankasa ya bufono. Charity begins at home, yes. But ha ni fear no watete ne ba ne se oya akwala papa. So kodum school mu ha. Na obi ba a wasai aba be sei no. No obi ba aba be sei no. Obi so ha no ani suban ona wo fear no na se osuo ne mama ne papa nti bibia yes sir yes ma oju school mu ha na ne real character na what suppresses for so long no na yi ne ho adi because obi ani ho ne mama ne wo ne papa ni ho. It's the same way as me young woman be mtene. Oh say ye freedom is coming tomorrow. No ye ni ense na mfata. Ebusafo. Yetin samo. And I hope say anopay me nya ti mpon no me ya ma betena ha me kasa yi. Empanyfo no ebetie ne ye ken. Amo fa ne say kasa keke I saw na wo Coastal TV na aka ne kasa na o kasa. Me kasa keke because I want to talk o nka meda. Ye kasa Coastal TV ye kasa because we care e fire ho hiasem. And we are hoping and praying and believing that in society papa bi ebe free sa ye kasa mu e de aba. Society papa bi ebe free e kasa mu aba. That's all we want. A better community, a better nation, a better future for our children. That's all we are asking for. Parents, guardians, authorities. No. Mo fa mo na nsi fom. Yes, sir. Mo fa mo na nsi fom. Abusafo me pese be kwa akwaje aboafo nkrato. Ye ba enkomo ne ye beto aso. Na anopensu newspaper yensa aka no. Ye de ato aso amomanfo. Nti yesre ene ye ntina ye kwa aba enche. Ye beba sisia.
National Petroleum Authority say, Mawa Bambo hu hiya ukane. Ain't no, stay back and stay safe. National Petroleum Authority, ebo bibia kokose, se fuel tank enya kwenshia, ne dania, menko ho nkwaye wadwen se, okosisa petrol anafango no. Ena finso, menye wadwen se wo ben fuel tank enya kwenshia ne ho, agwa kodwitwa videos, ana pictures. Na petrol anafango wo hwenso, uhua ko wumu a, enye sunsu asobone, ewo apomeden semso. Fango nso, eho ahometinti no. Enfom so akitu ebi, ebetumi ameja tom, ama na gise wom. Eba ne saa, nipa dodo timi femu hihye ehwe mo nkwa ema ejapade dodo na nso esei eno nti memfa wo nkwa nto chacha enye saa obenu ho nkwa na nyina se wo se fuwo tanka bi enya kwanhia na dania mafangu no ebugu mpa hwa na wa aman ho da. Stay back and stay safe. Emomo no aya fredum je jumayefo ana posifo no momehwe nso ano wutumi nso efre National Petroleum Authority ewo 0302 550 380 kaise wonkwa wo hoi ehu hia bebre esensa afango no kokoboi National Petroleum Authority ene de bro.
We sell gift shop, a place you can rely on. You call on us and we'll deliver. Thank you.
Abusanfo ye twa ye ho aba na ye hye mo bose ye nsa kan de ubon krata e wo fie ha sei a ye ba ba biebie so aboboso ama monsumehu ne ekoso me kai wo say ye headlines nti no e bia na wo pe details na nsa kan krata ni bia obetimi e read details no enyina anopay mamisha se enfree the daily graphic anopay daily graphic na ode ye papa kwesi indum ne infoni ababeto hasei na ochem se GN savings and loans license restored. Court of appeal ruling na court of appeal na sese amenoka say no omo ahye se pakwasi indum ne GN bank na ye J license no efi ni se no yensanfa ne license emano Bank of Ghana yensanfa ne license emano na onfa enye adwuma enti se say de GM Bank is high by babiem ebia no better send no but so far no de GN Bank and the license no amano back. Congratulations to him. Yeah. Forestry Commission set up camp to protect forest reserves. Forestry Commission asaya share ye forests eso ana omo asset up various camps various forest reserves Ghana has say ebeboa ama omatimi abo forest no ho ban eyi say no first nanka NIMOS and other forestry commission bodies no far away from forest reserves and as I say no ba be forest in fact ne forest no nete nti no no ma excavator so te nkana away bus no mu di wechi nti no eno ne asema ewo ho. Don't ban second-hand clothing, addressed the waste, landfills to landmarks co-founder. And I say, and yet, say, Emma buying ban, say, yem fast second-hand clothes, a year force in Tyree and Bagana, name no. In run dear na, I also shall know so on, and no also didn't attention call. Name many second-hand clothing na, or mude back Ghana. Inti and Sembia and pay. Daily Graphic or Diabano any. My young inquisitor so and pay. Or say at long last, restitution for par as GN savings and loans license is restored. And only as a man make and GN savings and loans, park in the bank no almost answer annual more license back. Some papers be na I was answering say you do baby na I will hobby ma me batcha na ya call in some for so. Napo takes center stage as Education World Forum. Education World Forum. Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempe Napo and Kratano H. say Education World Forum be a course on Udimu Akotene pa. Lack of beds not excuse to refuse emergency care. Professor Akosa and Kasei. Na Ochomu say hospital be any better. Na say bed in new hospital and no nye excuse say yebeka say obi ewo emergency situation ma yenhwe no enti no hospital bia entimi mfa the fact say omu ni bed and also say no bed syndrome enye excuse say ye ma obi emergency enti no say obi hia emergency healthcare attention I was say no ne wo ye bia agyae. Se nipa kwa na o hwe no onye emergency case obetimi agyae no na wa attend to emergency situation so na lack of bed so the any excuse cry. Leave Ghana if you can't obey our laws. Fabag to shipping lines. Fabag and I can share shipping lines ni bi se wo a wontimi endi Ghana emra so no ye pa cha park wo niam na free hanako. Free Ghana ko se wo hwe na se wontimi fa Ghana mra enye adwuma e wone kwan so a leave free hako e ma me ha o man no ma metete bia wo kwan bia so. Okay, young moshi na yen called the source newspaper. Now I see NDC has failed. Minority leader scolds Mohammed's government. Afenyo Markins and say NDC aban we die we di nkuko poto. In fact, ware kra na we diga na fon so ehwammo u kenkan kakra we nim ho na say the administration is a scam. Mahama led administration is a scam. Eno sama Afenyo Markins and eka I can't pay. Minister tells banks cleanup victim. Minister tells bank cleanup victims I can't pay. Na abaya etwam omu etoto banks binuma ye mu bia ye de sika ekọ share banks ni mu bi no ye sika ekam no nanka amanfo binum ehwe anim se at least aban no ebeye bibia fa no omu sika omode kwoto bank ona ye close bank ni omu sika ka mu no obenya omusika back eno na Minister of Finance oda the Source newspaper enim ha say ya tro kese abo nanim say I can't pay na chese so want me ntua and you heard right into no Saudi usika koto wona usika hye wadwen ye wo say aban no betua ashigoro ayoka aban say want me ntua sanity yo a Black West South Africa xenophobia evacuation suspended abani ye say anka Ghana for South Africa emano edi omani no yedi omu nyina ebeba Ghana in fact ebe evacuate ebe yi omu nyina fi South Africa edoma ba Ghana eno na the Source newspaper echiremu a sa initiative sa ade na adwuma na compensate omudi no omatwe asensen suspended omuntwemu omatwe asensen eno ne nsema ewoko change Abronye's judge NPP petitions Chief Justice asemo yeah yo na NPP mano na omudi petition akwa Chief Justice say judge na odi Abronye asem omosesa omompel enti no Chief Justice emomodin say obeyi sa judge na fi ono de judge foforo aba abehye nenem tanse omontro amonjini ndi amonje sa judge ni ndi enti sa judge na odi Abronye asem no otse sa asem no so as a judge no Chief Justice enyini fi wo yo Abronye secures 100,000 Ghana cedis bail at High Court. And they say so no High Court ama Abronye 100,000 Ghana cedis bail. And also so nsema ewo yo. Na ye the Chronicle and so waso na Fenyo Markin Symphony edda hasei and Patricia Appiagyei ono so ye deputy minority leader Symphony edda hasei. Osahin fires ministers over early race to succeed Mahama. Minority leader Afenyo Markins a born in Samranisa Osahin and as I say was soja egu ministers bi echemu pa esan say e kame say omo pre omo pentem say omo be kwa akodi Mahama ade I mean NDC primaries no so is just bibia ekoso ne ade na so minority leaders are doing one on ase okra ni nti ase omo ho pre wo mo so omo be di Mahama ade ano so ne nsema ekoso Ghana on right path despite challenges Mahama Ayariga majority leader and echem say Ghana oman no e kwan ya nam so no kwan papa pa kwan ya etene kwan papa e be man mpunto aba no na mom no ebi o ha challenges ma ko mienu bi na ha ebe no krampo no entimi mu yabam na eden ya nkunimdie ebe Ghana dia halt creeping culture of silence Akomia tells Mahama Akomia na eka kire Mahama say sane culture of silence na ase ode no boko wa hihye chire eyi bola soja ode no kaka beje obese ani wom no onjai sa de na oye no na opese ode etete nkrofo no onjai na eno de emwa the Chronicle ensema ode abeninti no ye fi ho a ye call the new crusading guide na I say fresh trouble rocks the mine deal Shraj petitioner ropes in President Mahama over possible conflicts of interests. Obia petition Shraj say the mine na ekoso no ansha na conflict of interest bi edi echi na the petition ni mu no obo omampanyin John Dramani Mahama edin ewo mu yo Sam George mfonyi da say aya 80 etautigo mfonyi ebonachi yo I say 1 year after government Rectron 60% stake memorandum of understanding Sam George holds $150 million 80 Ghana deal to ransom. 80 Ghana deal be a nanka sika that's no a 150 million US dollars no Sam George at the sad deal nimu as what didn't start to so baby sir and also in sema ekoso na Joanna Kwe and Richard Niyama Kwe and sensam no the new crusading guard at Shemu say Joanna Kwe RNAQ co-own quick credit other companies evidence reviews Ochema new evidence ababe tojano at Shemu say Richard Niyama Kwe na Richard Niyama Kwe kase oni shares bia oni quick credit say bills microfinance any other companies and evidence na beto jana say maame no co-founder o ka ho bi na omote bills microfinance o sanso ka ho bi na omote companies ahodo bi a share Richard Niyama Kwe ni dimu nti no eno ni new evidence aba beto ja yo na GNPC Ghana Gas Tough Crowd push for national Ghana law Paul Chum Berima and also national gas law bia GNPC and Ghana Gas no omo pese omo pushing Indum pledges to rebuild GN savings and loans bigger after Court of Appeal ordered Bank of Ghana to restore firms operating licenses. Pakasi Indum and Oshabo say GN Ghana, GN Bank, send na ESSIEN, GN Savings and Loans, send na ESSIEN Caneno. I feel no mama ne licenses no pode. Or babe, I feel no be ne kese. Or be sie atre na hiem aye ne me be ma bank no akọ nanim pa. Eno ne bosha wa hye Ghana for ne obi a obepese obekwa ene omo be akọ djuma. The Daily Statesman say Avenue Markins and Fonyi at the Habim. And it's the story of failure, scandal, and hardship. Minority leader dissect NDC's reset governments. NDC by an almost on Babaye resetting our Ghana has said. And a minority leader, Avenue Markins, that's not say no who say. So reset government no. Akwa failure cry can I say in kukuo any scandals ahodo any a hardship ahokyere and the aba Ghana for so na reset bia nko so Baumia charges NPP MPs to defend party legacy. Baumia and wode nsembia to MPP for amoye mrahye bedwam sesi ase bibia MPP for etimi ye bra no mo wo abem ansa na omo free abem no MPP sa MPs no emmomodin ase ombe bohu ban ama ejina Journalists urged to be trauma sensitive in their work. Essential for nyina Coastal TV for nyina ni media for nyina e Ghana ha nyina nkabom ko GJA na friends afutu akwa ma ye nyina ne se ye be trauma sensitive. But me explain trauma sensitive no. On say assembly wo ha se wo kan se bia se se enche bia accident esi ye o Cape Coast say ya utimu se omanfo wiwe na omo wo videos a kire de wi anaka na ye even nipa mpo na mo tika nim de wi na mo tia ye na ya sembia na eni nyan hu de yo be se aka no na eba ne se journalist na so wo report sa news bi sa na wo so hu se abusuafo aka etifie adofo binom hwe omo tie o nti se wo report a na why sensitive kakra ensem bi wo ho a yen kan bebre na videos bi wo ho so a yen show e wo TV so eno ne nsem a afutuo nsem a ekwama Ghana Journalists Association yo abronya DC granted 100,000 Ghana bill amedin kan wasem The National Voice newspaper na Lawyer Paul Chumberry Manfoni that has said was Ghana needs a National Gas Act to end regulatory confusion. And also saying asama Chumberry America say a National Gas Act be a yebeye mra e de beto gas and nsensem ho ama sa confusion aye kokko so sa emra confusion law confusion nyina so eto etwa ewo GNPC ne Ghana gas ne ekeka ho nyina. Bawumia fires up NPP for 2028 majority victory, says NPP's road to 2029 starts now. Bawumia na ochim say paper newspaper ni chim say wahye NPP amanyokuo ni mumpenfo nkwala mrantie edin say 2028 on betimi ewini elections no na oma baban mu 2029 e sha say free enne 22nd May 2026 and then I say shall say free. It is a need that quite say NPP no ebesa baban mu 2029 ba omi ase I was so much shall say and ne so mu di dwuma esene efata. Yo Joanna Kwe on Richard Niyama Kwe and some new evidence na epie no medin kan ho asem. The News Center newspaper and Ochem say ECD ready for rollout to facilitate cross-border trade, financial integration. Dr. ESSIEN and Kasei Governor of Bank of Ghana. Ochem say Adebiaba your friend ECD. ECD no a currency a physical currency as electronic currency. I beboa ama so wo Ghana ha opese no bi edidwa ewo Burkina Faso ewo Morocco ewo Nigeria betimi asend sika no digitally sa ECD no betimi asend ECD no betimi asend e de akono nipa kon so e de asend bi di amount beboa ma physical cash na de possess etwam ese etwam nti me ko be na me kwa akota de no mo ka chem say yenji mu ma na mo ho ye me hu enemrem munji mumu oje na abeje nti anu so se ne asama aba reclaim Galamsey lands for youth project Gamanche and okache CEO of Gold Board or oneno ebon komono na wo chem se Galamsey assign sase bebre ne mum no owo eniswade hunu ewo gidie se aban betimi age sansase no asiesie sansase no e de aye youth projects ebebo ama youth employment na akoso o man mu Agenda 111 site turned into weed smokers hideout and snake den. Reporter News Center Eddie Abani say Agenda 111 hospitals nibi project nibi wo hwa adane we for edan ene awowo efie na ohwemfoni na edan News Center newspaper no so na e wa ase ho na Agenda 111 dan edan nice one beautiful buildings enwura ni mfuye aye homa yana me dream ho a me ntiase me ntiase o but I'm running crab ya na betri and you know and some News Center Ediaba and no the publisher, the new publisher or the fine gentleman be ewa ha Afenyo Markins. Now I say Afenyo Markins tells suffering Ghanaians, we will not be silent on your behalf. As Afenyo Markins say Ghana for mu brain na no or no any parts in the they will not be silent. Among come on to ewa mo ha no ho. Nti omo se monda Court grabs Abronye's passport, grants 100,000 bill. Na sana court oma Abronye 100,000 bill no. Na enye no kwa osan agye ne passport. Agye ne passport o why. Nti Abronye ontimi nko bia. GN Bank is back. GN Bank asana chiaba. No so ne the new publisher Nensama or the Ababetuja and pay the custodian and I made it was na I say NPP to petition CJ over judges' misconduct in Abronye's case. Into no, Senator no Moka say, Chief Justice, NPP focus Chief Justice, any judge now, OD Abronye case, no, omunyin in free one. And also in some way, what say, Afenyo Markins fires NDC government, and also so ha. Government chair praises gold board for protecting Ghana's gold sector. Government chair, and now all gold board, Abaso say, Omatimia Bogana. Your gold no ho buying umatimia gold sector no ho buying pan on my yard. Stop NDC from grabbing NPP project. Baumia urges minority. Baumia and Ochemu say a minority in parliament no MPs now MPP MPs no more parliament or more than say a can be also on befa or mobe see NDC are buying quine say on fan and sound cock a NDC project be a yano monfaso. The Metro Lens, Right Honorable Alban Bagbin, Speaker of Parliament, and now as a Parliament to pass anti-LGBT plus LGBTQ plus bill before adjournment begins. Where they are some but much anyway. Speaker of Parliament and Ochim say and check Parliament ebe pass anti-LGBTQ plus bill no. Sa bill na emma kwan say obia beye bakazo e Ghana ha say na emma ne mema emma ne emma aware mema ne mema aware sa sem no sa bill we na be prevent sa de ni na e Ghana say na enche on be pass sa bill no answer na parliament adjournments yebe adjournments kra me kan say o de me hwehwe twinam dia answer na yebe adjourn parliament no sa yem be pass sa bill no answer na sa adjournment no aba. Prepare for power in 2028. Baumia charges mighty minority to reposition NPP as government in waiting. Mighty minority. First time I say mighty minority. Okay. Now Baumia Nechem say NPP member of parliament, minority in parliament is here. Omonsha says omo siesie wo omo fa ne mangu akom omonsha says omo behave to say nkofo a enche kra omo ba be gi aban Pentecost for say e fa man NPP for ba be fa man no sanity but we na e show omo nkran na court orders Indum's Yen Bank okay restoration medin kan aka ho ansem na Dubai Chambers meets GNCCI, GIPC, and Importers Association to strengthen Ghana trade ties. Dubai Chambers and as paying for bino and aba Ghana aba beshia GNCCI, ni GIPC, and the Importers Association of Ghana. I just say, and come on, Moody, some more kind of your coin on Befaswa, a dreadie, a Ghana and Dubai, a dreadie, no, a mobile ding. Ye a young fan mo ebe yedin ntianen sama ewo ho na yekọ informant so a death trap at Kaneshi. Commuters, school children risk daily life as footbridge remains shut. The informer echemo say no call Kaneshi footbridge sa ade na nkofo friend me person me friend over footbridge na ya on say on a highway ya bridge bi was so say na be ya manfo betimi afa so akodi other side abra ehun hia se be kwa gina kwan ho na wa twen say car man sa na be twam hwem no sa footbridge no yatum obi am timi mfa ho a che say mo etimamufo ene school nkwala omunyina wo so omunko gina kwan no ho na omuntwen se car bi mba otwiniti na car bi mba ansa na wetwam aba ne sanso a na ye de yenkwa to esen mu a ense na emfata kra. Baumia rejects factional politics, calls for unity in NPP. Baumia and world fresh kroye ebetena NPP mu na enkoye entitimu ananso say division bia. Peace Council warns against rising political tensions. Peace Council na omobokoko say political tensions be ekos wo man nimu a emfa asumdwe emfa mba kra. Galamsey hideout busted. Ahafo Security Council seizes excavators in major crackdown. ACEP warns Parliament and government. Ahafo Security Council. Anna omakwa kwa che Galamsey phobia chese omu di nyamransem aje omu excavators. Na omu ye no musanso ede warnings emma aban ene parliamentarians are more than one aje Galamsey no say ensa so mu a mo beti ankasa mra no ene mo bedi tie no nsema e wo ho. Zoom Lion begins Nairobi waste transformation. Yo, no bed is no excuse. Professor Akosa nensam na all kanu and o che say yeba hospital na bed in ni ho no eno nya excuse say obeka say on share emergency situation being to omfa nko debi nya sa nete. Yo, daily gist, the daily gist and amede twaso. I say Afenyo marking takes on Ibrahim Mahama over the mine deal. Say conflict of interest na or kan omoka ho asem no eno na we say na Afenyo marking senso na se no ani Ibrahim Mahama edi ESSIEN esan say ono no de engineers and planners Ibrahim Mahama ni company na omoye adwuma o da mine no ono onje ntum sa. Yo, Eastern Regional Minister exposed for stealing a Kufuor project for Mahama. Yo, the Daily just say Eastern Regional Minister na ne abede di say na say ne ho ntuma apa say we a Kufuor project bi e de akoma Mahama. And so I can say no because how saying Ebani saying a crime benzo. But yeah, that's just that. Ghana is hard. I said in Ketia confesses. I said in Ketia say Ghana yedio. I said in Ketia say Ghana yeding. Ghana is hard. You. Prophet Bedu Kobi. Marriage collapsing? Question mark. Prophet Bedu Kobi. Now why we go na question mark. Hint no something in some I say. Prepare for power NPP but we answer no na High Court grants Abronye 100,000 Ghana cedis. Don't make reckless comments against arrested MP Ayarega na ka ho kasa se so make comments bi aba efa MP a ye chi no se nensa she fraud niema bi odi fraud djuma bi na so wo make comments bo wasem bi kan hwe no kasa yi en kasa by heart nya se bibia aba wa adwum ntina wo ka ame nya ne sa yo eno ne ensama the daily gist e de aba na me toaso na me the daily guide toaso so a abronye nsem no wa ha say police chase Arabic teacher for defiling 2 boys. Say me say me say me who dream. Now, daily guide say police for the Arabic teacher bia. Wakwa ye ememu amienu bi bakazo. Me kan bakazo na onim ne me kan wasem. Wakwa fa ememu amienu no wo mechi. LGBT nsem ya ye kan ya. Parliament nyem pass bill. Ebi na nsem ya be. Last Monday no na meetie story no na ochra enye first time sa Arabic teacher why sa de ni enye first time otaye ama oyeya ama Arabic school na owo mu dada no oyeya ma mpemfo ehuye nanso enam se akoye religious issue nti no obi anka ne hwe na mo transfer no ekọ another Arabic school. Now transfer na punishment bia man punishment bia ya transfer no kwa another Arabic school and the honso so okotoa ni juma die no so memu amienu na che say why you omo pasa they say police for age nature omo hwehwe no ache no yo TikToker arrested over Mahama death threats. Enrana, I think Obiana no or video no fear say na mete na or can say or can some a war threats for Mahama ho President Mahama ho just say entwe ye kra na say the police for nsa asonimu. Minority demands probe into Dumso. Minority in parliament say omu hia nhwehwemu say bekoso e was Dumso na ekoso e wa Ghana na nsen no e was say ye nhwehwemu e wo ho na GN Bank ensem no so e wa ha say it means so enka ho asem biem. The Ghanaian publisher Afenyo Markins, scandals, darkness and distress, minority leader rapes into a government. And only in some work out, you didn't come once and then means also encounter with government share any gold board, Sami Jemfi, and also some encounter once. Now, won't to me for you that has say, I permitted reclamation, not mining. Won't to me tells courts. Some Nibia, won't to me, I can't share courts, no, and no, say or no dear. Or permittee say yenye nsasini ye name one kase obi anko to agudie wo so anase visa ehia no so yense maunya the new Ghanaian publisher obehu details ni na woman arrested for threatening President Mahama TikTok na oko ekeka nsama ensem fata no ya che no so ha say Bank of Ghana signals where Business and Financial Times. Bank of Ghana signals next phase of ECD expansion into cross-border settlement. ECD now American one no, and also bank Business and Financial Times or they abba court vindicates indum. Yakan one dada. Producer inflation rises to 2.7% in April 2026. Bosumi April nimuno. Ni etwam ya bosumi etwam ya you know inflation. Show and all the core percentage ma 2.7% last month April. The Ghanaian Times newspaper, the Ghanaian Times, outdated laws hindering stray animal control, vet service. Now veterinary service for mo ye emwa ho adwuma say emwa doctors na echemu say Emra yedi adwuma organa has say concerning stray animals emwa omuni uranom a omuni nam Ghana has say no sa emra na yedi adwuma no etwam nti wo say ye renew na South Africa xenophobic attacks 800 Ghanaians seek repatriation 800 Ghanaians seek and xenophobic attacks are across South Africa and Zanzamio and the Ghanaian Times said they say 800 Ghanaians or more share repatriation. How they emphasize repatriation. Only 1 in 4 severely malnourished children receive life-saving treatment, according to reporter the Ghanaian Times. Ediaba anopeno or say ufa emofra 4 omuye malnourished. Let's just say malnourished no crowd. Omunya enuanu nuro omubodi no eni nuanu nuro achese obehwe no obi anya kwhwe no obi yare beri no obi tiri ho atutu ni ade no sa nkwala nyina no se ufa emu ennan a nipa ba akopɛ emu ba akopɛ na otimi enya treatment na omo 3 na aka ne de omo nya treatment eno so yensem a ɛha adwen yo and no and some bia anopai the Ghanaian Times or the ababetuja na yembohwi na yonko the Punch newspaper. Amenfi Central MP speaks after emotional in Sewon prison visit. Now Ochemu say every soul matters. Amenfi Central Mrashebejani okosra in Sewon prison for no na Ochemu said okra bia ehu hia say wo da prison ye nyina ye hu hia yo Coca seeks blessings from Kwamai Hene ahead of Ashanti Regional MPP chairmanship bid. Koka ena akwakosre nananom atena nkunya ensemu nhira eye kwaman ehene nsemu nhira esan say okọ Ashanti Regional MPP or person onko gina for Regional MPP Ashanti Region MPP elections no or person onko gina na yentu ne so aba nti no akwaje nananom nsemu nhira say bompa ye man. Untreated piles can lead to serious health complications in men. I say Coco say we be na Coco wo ho na one share and fan call hospital me am we drum one treat here it me cause serious problems you the punch na account. Chief of Staff calls for new generation of strategic African leaders at Defense College matriculation. Chief of Staff na ochemu say yemfa ene mafoforo ngu akwan me beboa ama African leaders are yet to or more institutions are hold on betimi enya tete papa o kan we bra na Defense College year matriculation na okopie mu ewo ho yo na newspaper bi so a daily news flash GH ihu na chepa o say court finds unemployed man 6,000 Ghana cedis for stealing 20,000 Ghana cedis. Court asha say papa bi a onye adwuma unemployed wakwa ko wiesika 20,000 Ghana cedis na court say ontua 6,000 Ghana cedis. Let's go no obi anko be kwa go wia. Okay. North Tongue District Assembly appears before a public accounts committee. North Tongue District Assembly na omokwa kojina public accounts committee no anim na omode omonsem ni djuma omude na ato omanim as Sojaman turns purple today as DCE lead floating to create mental health awareness. Yo, a mud slide carrying heavy rocks buries 5 houses and 9 cars at Helepe. Hey. Na ochemu se ko baby e friend Helepe a na che say mud slide e ka landslide kwa na che say asase no obi so asase ni baby wo ho a etimi ye mresa na ebu agum aha na saade ni bi na esi wo Helepe a che say me no kasa no edan mako 5 ene cars ahodo cars mako 9 de sa edan ne cars ni na omamem achese sa ateche no afa wo mo eno nso ne asema e wo ho wow yo IGP cyber vetting and enforcement team arrested Baumiaba over threats against President Mahama. Okay, mo aya mukita phones a okita o TikTok account o Facebook account mi so o phone esi wanim na o keka nsema ensem fata na we nya na ebeku no na we ye chire pa ade ede be ni nyina ya threat o se wonim a I mean control so police esa so video no ma the internet does not forget oh ye video na wo post no if say police won hu omo hu on ba be chew me say Ghana police on just on my imagine say ne wo ye yo mu view just on yo imagine pa say omo nkasa hu na so me imagine so be kasa hu to kro bia wo shem bia no on be hu aba be chew an just on my imagine so mu view anya sa dia metimi aba be chew nti mo ye videos a mo hwe ye ne nsema a mo keka no mo hwe ye yo ye the Hawk newspaper. IMF piles pressure on Ghana to open power grid to private operators. IMF. Now, if you say IMF, you know what on quantity. If you didn't know more about it, IMF na the pressure you Ghana buying chemu say or more private operators and for more NJ Ghana ye empower in sensemu and also soon in some yo. Now we will make Ghana ungovernable. Salam Mustafa na kasai yo niente o kasa ndi ono ane behu cost 54 smashes record with 700 cadets and also so ensema free police for akache. Let due process prevail. Just MP in emotional appeal. Let due process prevail. Ochem say court nsensem na dey e koso no. I was say omoma emra no eye adwuma eno so ne nsema ewo ho na say anope so okọ the Daily Times ono so de nsem bi etudwa Honorable Dr. Stephen Into Mocha the unifier reshaping our wings development path okọ baby a friend say our win or western regional Honorable Dr. Stephen Into krata ne chemu say oyobi a obo ne homoden ama impuntuo aba ewo awowin ho no pa ba ne mpuntuo dia one die animu kan ebo ho chiame ne ade ade yo IMF to release final $318 million tranche to Ghana after July review approval. I say no me hu ne ekoso mo fi IMF ana mo da so IMF ochemu say Daily Times say chemu say IMF ba be ma sika bia ne bo ne $318 million a year final sika omode ema aban abra omoye review of aban ni nyuma odie no mu say ampa mo sana mo fata say ye mamo sika we yo eno so ne nsema ko eso ewo the Daily Times anopai mehu ene mehu women in leadership and come there no etwa so but ma menko Africa Today na menfa no entwa so Ghana cedis 270,000 Ghana cedis fraud scheme jail awaits identical twins and others UBA Ghana rejects DUD post dated checks by twins of late Dr. KK Duncan. Yo, and also a fraud in Sensembia, akoso ewo UBA Ghana. Yo. Na Accra High Court and Sensem Medin High. A Konfi MP to monitor works 24/7 to stop shoddy construction. A Konfi MP say ordinary to form 24/7. Onankasa kwa monitor ejuma na constructors no eye wo kwan so no no man kwa ye shoddy works bia 2x4 ejuma bia. Okay, big push and 24-hour economy takes center stage, unveiling Ghana's 2026 budget. Now 2026 budget, you know, Ochemu say Africa Today Ochemu say big push and 24-hour economy no and na ebedi muntinti mine pa. See, I know na me debate chat so na ya sorry newspaper review no so. Me say onsaka the obokrata na back kind ye wom ankasa ne etimi kan ne entimi anka ne newspapers ni na ne kan it is onsaka na we read na wonso wahu ne ekoso nti eno ne nsema anope de obokrata no de aba eni anu ne adofo me ntwa ye ho na ye nkomra ye ba ye be wa beto adwumadi no so
Majendida, the perfect day, menye bida. Stuck with you forever. You be my ride or die, so ila. Odone kakoma, I the wood in a shame, my baby. I go to Sophia Napa, and the captain, but what's in a goal. Wakaya manjendino, Odona manjendino, black wash. Why da woda pancake, you know, asam kasa frankensido. She be Rihanna, with a touch of Beyonce. Oh yeah, na man, with a touch of Mata. She be Rihanna, with a touch of Beyonce. Oh yeah, na man, with a little touch of Mata and Kuba. Georgie Bayote. I'm a proud of Balamagel. Modono, I love you, Balamagel. Mama will Range Rover one, oh my papa ni Range Rover one, no be ala ni Range Rover one. Besi aba, nyawanga mini meda, oda eda sisika awakaya wambwa, biya na beda mede, abe. Wakaya manjendino, oda na manjendino, black washe. Why would a pancake, no? Asam casa frankensido. She be Rihanna with a touch of Beyonce. Oh yeah, na man with a touch of Magda. She be Rihanna with a touch of Beyonce. Oh yeah, na man with a little touch of Magda and Goma. Georgie Bayote. I'm a proud of Balamagel. I love you, Balamagel.
We sell gift shop, a place you can rely on. You call on us and we'll deliver. Thank you.
National Petroleum Authority say, Mawabambo hu hia ukane. Ain't no, stay back and stay safe. National Petroleum Authority, ebo bibia kokose se fuel tank enya akwanhia na edane a menko ho nkwaye wadwen se okosesa petrol ana fango no na afin so menye wadwen se wo ben fuel tank enya akwanhia ne ho akwa kodwetwa videos ana pictures na petrol ana fango wo hwen so ohua ko wo mu a enye sunsu aso bone e wo apomeden sem so fango nso eho ahometinti no enfom so kitu ebi ebetumi ameja tom ama na gise ewom eba ne saa nipa dodo timi fem hyehye ehwe mo nkwa emeja pade dodo na nso esei eno nti memfa wo nkwa nto chacha enye saa obenu ho nkwa na nyina se wo hu se fuel tank bi enya akwanhia na adane ama fango no ebugu mpa hwa na wa aman ho da. Stay back and stay safe. Emomo no aya fredum je jumayefo ana posifo no momehwe nso ano wutumi nso efre National Petroleum Authority ewo 0302 550 380 kaise wonkwa wo hoi eho hia bebre esensa afango no kokoboi National Petroleum Authority ene de bro.
Educated, talented, she knows her worth. She's cultural, a woman of substance. And when she walks, the world will stop and stare. She's a woman. So strong, she is courageous and fearless. She knows her worth. She's graceful, a woman of substance. And when she walks, the world will stop and stare. She's a woman.
Coastal TV Morning Mix Jumedian Ogusa Ocean or digital channel 514. Yes, and so our Facebook and YouTube in United streaming live. Our koha on Sabakayana Oni Edi Jumano Sani say na efata. And Pempenso Ayedri no Mikacho say Nkomobi Hona ye babedi. Na yasha se no. On say me the flood in Yeman Yasha se nsuo ni nyato sa na se flood ni eyi ni tipe ne etoa so se sanitation ne nkoyi a na che se yare ba be yi ni ti ewo ye mpotem eni ntinance ewo se ye sanitation mpo esiye esa no se flood ne kra ba na entimi mfa ha bia emfam bre ne mo meni se ye mass flood ni mpo ba ne mo ne ya ka ne se Ghana Health Service omone Cape Coast Metropolitan Health Directorates na ede samfoni a wo hu e wo screen isu yi ababetuja na mo se enka nche say the rains are here nsuo no esifom and so are some seasonal diseases nsuo no esifom no na nyarewa bi a nsuo no edeba no eno sonso esifom eninti no ya momodin se ye betwe ho afri sa ohawi ho yare bi te se malaria, cholera, diarrhea, typhoid ene ne ekeka ho no na eyiniti pa ne santi yemfa nsawohoro hand washing na yen keep environment so clean yen num nsuo bebre ne nsuo papa yen num ne bebre na early reporting yen na nso yemfa enya adwuma nti no eno ene ensem bia Cape Coast Metropolitan Health Directorates ese yemmo omanfo kokko na obia nso enhu ne esese oye odebo ne ho ban bra nsuo yesi fomi na ankofo ha obia amfa mbre obia na yefri hon so a announcement ba ku bia yepese yedi etwam ansa ya toa so efri Grace Hill School of Technology osi enkancho say Saturday echina meminda 23rd of May 2026 omo ye graduation ceremony kese edi ama omo students bi a omawie school na ombe ye graduation no ewo school school campus ho time no eye anopa 10 anopa nondu 10 am eno mbe share dwumedie yi ase nti bomodin ase se oba nkobio de wani bekwa akwahwe ade na ye fefefe na omo team no omo say increasing employability through skills training nyacha se kwan a ombefa so a emofre free school ho AP no ombe nkofo a job market no ebe accept so omo mbenye edwuma aye ama omo ho atom se nye obi kra na ebe employ omo mankasa ebetimi ede omo skills aye edwuma nti sa na etie guest speaker obepiem ewo dwumadie na se no eye Professor Zakaria Sulemana or Director General Emma CTVET ono ene eye guest speaker Emma Jumedie Grace Hill School of Technology eto nsafe obia se omo graduation ceremony no baso nyampa ochina nti obia emfanani entremu ewo ho sanso na echina meminda koya so ebo yakwa graduation anopa 10 ewie no ye pon a na ebo enwumre na se ewia 2 p.m. Pepepa ina edi ni echemu ewo University of Cape Coast School of Graduate Studies SGS Auditorium ne ekoso wo ho eye African Liberation Day celebrations mo kai se Wednesday no ye nimpenfo eye interview wo fia say ane na Jumedie no se medical guide bi meda na meminde ya na baso mpenfo bebre eba be piase ewo ho eye Minister for Foreign Affairs eba be piem wo ho owura okujeto ablakwa any acting Vice Chancellor Emma UCC Professor Dennis Wolanyo Aheto ononso eba be piemu ewo dwumadie no ase eni mpenfo bebre a eka ho Mr. Morris Biggest III CEO and founder of Real Ghana Foundation and Dr. Mario Nisbet Director for Center of African Studies and also an international African International Studies at University of Cape Coast mpenfo eni eka ho bia na be piem ewo dwumadie no ase me catch us Coastal TV dey tama second chances na se bia ukwada no went me any year and share interviewer ye ni mpanyifo ya omudi dwumadie enim African Liberation Day ceremony enim etwetwe nkomo e ofia ha no ne omo kan ni bia ye ba be bomfoni no na se video no akyerɛw na onso wahu ne ewo ho nyina nti bo mode ase obetina o TV na chi obekwa so ahwe wo Facebook and YouTube na wa enjoy abra mpanyifo omo ni ye che Africa ni ye history ni nti o se ye bo ho ban ani ade nyina ye hwe video ni bi ye ba ye beto adwumadie no eso. We are doing in the studio, and then they understand the interview questions. And we are going to talk about a program that's going to happen on Saturday, God willing, and it's going to be the Saturday 23rd of May 2026 at School of Graduate Studies SGS Auditorium at UCC. And it says the African Liberation Day celebration. That's what's going to happen on Saturday, God willing. So make sure that you take notes and you are present for this particular program because it's very, very important, as always, as usual. Yeah. So my guest today, I have Morris S. Biggest, right? Is it professor? Is it doctor?
No.
None of them.
Private citizen.
Okay. So I have Morris S. Biggest the third, and he is the founder and CEO of the Royal Ghana Foundation, and it's an NGO. And I also have Dr. Mario Nesbet, Director for Center for African and International Studies, UCC. Thank you all so much for being here. You all came very early, and I'm so glad that you were able to wait until this time. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and your patience. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So the program that's happening this Saturday, I mean, it's termed the African Liberation Celebration, but most of us don't really know what it's about. So I'm going to need you to explain what the program is about, the ideology behind it, and the objective for this particular one that's happening on Saturday. So that's what I'm going to need you to do. So I'm going to start from you, Dr. Mario, and then you give us something little about what we are supposed to know about the program.
Okay,
right.
So thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Yes, so in terms of African liberation, then maybe I give some context. African Liberation Day is also known as African Union Day or Africa Day.
Oh, okay.
So it's, for some of the listeners, they may know this as a celebration that was started particularly with the African Union, Organization of African Unity in 1966. When the organization was formed, they had a celebration May 25th every year since 1963, since the organization was formed. So the celebration is on the continent, but it's also in the diaspora. So also in the diaspora in the United States, the Caribbean, it is also known as African Liberation Day.
Okay.
So it's a day to reflect about African liberation and so forth. So the event that we're having on Saturday is actually the second event that we have from since last year. Last year we had a similar event, but last year we focused on looking at the Sahel states as a blueprint in terms of liberation for the African continent.
Okay.
So this year theme actually is centered more around reparative justice or reparations.
Yeah.
So it's linked to recently the President of Ghana went to the United Nations and he proposed a resolution that declared the transatlantic slave trade to be the gravest crime against humanity. And 123 nations supported it. Some people abstain and very few object to it. But it shows that the whole world is behind Ghana and people of African descent when it comes to the issue of the transatlantic slave trade, and in particular the issue of reparation that is linked to the issue of the transatlantic slave trade. Basically, in short, that's what the program is focused on, but we could provide more details.
Yeah, I'm really interested in the more details aspect.
Yes, yes. In details, in terms of
the reproductive justice and what this means for Africans.
Okay, so if we go back a bit, so I could talk a bit about the transatlantic slave trade and why was it considered to be the gravest crime against humanity. I think that's something we need to give that some context, where the transatlantic slave trade happened in the very early and modern period of our world, like around the 1500s. And so this was a major shift actually in the global system that developed during that time period, and the transatlantic slave trade was central to that global shift. The European powers around this time, there was a shift on the planet. The European powers, many of them started interacting with different peoples and different groups in the world, and we saw actually genocide. We look at slavery, and we also had the issue of colonialism. And all of those things negatively affected the Africans in many ways. And so previously, before that time, people don't know this, but the word slave actually comes from the word Slav.
Okay.
S-L-A-V, and it actually is linked to a people that are from Europe, Eastern Europe. And so it's the transatlantic slave trade that actually made it so that Africans are seen as slaves. And when you think about it, before the 1800s, people of African descent were not considered the main people who were even enslaved. African are people of African descent. Actually, Asians and Europeans were enslaved much more than Africans.
Okay.
It was around the 1800s when that shift happened. And that shift happened because Europeans and basically Europeans expanded and developed this transatlantic slave trade where no Europeans could be enslaved. Africans were the only group that were fit to be slave under this new system. And so it led to over 12 million Africans being enslaved in the Americas, but it has bigger impact on the continent because studies showed between 30 to 70% of the people placed on the ship, actually another amount dies. So on average, 50% of people that left, another 50% actually die on the way trying to make it to the slave castles and the slave ships. And then as we know, about estimated 3 million people die on the way.
Yeah.
So right now we have bones and skulls of Africans laying in the ocean from the coast of Ghana and Africa going all the way to the coast of the Caribbean and the Americas. And so that's the context of the transatlantic slave trade, and it's considered the gravest crime against humanity because that shifts the global system in a way where no matter where, if you're a person of African descent, you're understood or interpreted as someone who is linked to slavery. Even if your ancestors owned slave, ironically, you still are linked with slavery. Everywhere people of African descent go, no matter where they go on the planet, they are treated as inferior or subhuman. Whether they go to China, whether they go to Europe, whether they go to the United States, even in the Caribbean, where I'm from, the idea of people of African descent is sometimes devalued while ideas of Europeans are elevated. And so this shift led to a racialization of Africans as being an inferior group, and it created a system that enforces it. And that system is still continuing today as we speak. And so that call of referring to the transatlantic slave trade as the greatest crime against humanity is an effort to also bring up the issue of reparative justice. So sometimes we use the word reparations, but I prefer using the word actually reparative justice, where it's not issue of, where people think of it as in terms of aid or you owe or paying back.
Yeah.
No, I think it's much more complex. And when it comes to reparative, is repair something that has happened that was bad, and justice in terms of finding equality, finding justice, basically. And so in terms of reparative justice, it is not monetary alone, although I think the issue of money cannot be taken out of it. It's much more in terms of the example that I usually give is if something happened, if you're walking on the street and someone hit you by accident. The idea is that this person, if they're really sorry, they apologize for hitting you by accident, and they ask if you need to go to the hospital, and they take you to the hospital, and if the bill is certain amount, they'll be willing to pay it because they committed something that was wrong and they acknowledge it, and they find a way of repairing it. If I'm okay and I'm not damaged in any way, and I could pay the bill myself, maybe I could say, it's okay, I have my car there, thank you for your concern, and I understand it's an accident. And these things happen. You know, like there's a conversation about it and ways of finding a solution that is mutually beneficial for both people, especially the person who were injured in the incident. And so this is what reparations is about. So it's very much complicated. If you even look at the situation in Israel after the Holocaust of the Jewish people, part of the reparations was actually every German learning what their ancestors did in terms of killing the Jews. So reparations is not only necessarily for even the African, it's for the people who continue to profit from it, and a just system continue in the world. So it's an effort to have a conversation and rectify those issues. Because what we have had before is that something was done wrong, someone feeling injustice was done, and so the goal is when I finally get on top, I commit the same thing to the person that did it to me. But we're asking for a world that is much more open and a way that we could repair the issues, the problems, in dialogue in an open way. So.
Okay, so that's all about the reparative justice. I was thinking, so, you know, in the generation that we are in right now, there are lots of the young people right now that do not really understand the extent of the damage that was done to Africans during those slavery era. So how do you make somebody in this generation see what we are talking about to even understand that there is a need for a reparative justice? Let me throw that to you.
Thank you. I think your question was around how do we communicate to the youth of Africa, to the youth of Ghana, to the youth of the world, that a grave injustice has occurred and that we are currently being afflicted by it even if we don't know it. And then how do we then explain to them then, since this wrong has happened to us, that the people who caused the harm to us should now do what they can to help repair and fix what has been broken. So if we look at Africa, right, and here in Ghana, Ghana had its kings, it had its traditional leaders, its traditional rulers, and everyone had their territory, they had their land, and they had their families, and the society was going along quite fine until it was interrupted by an outside force. And that outside force was the coming of the Europeans to Elmina in the 1440s. And what happened then? We began to trade and do business with the Europeans, the Portuguese. And that trade eventually led to the taking of African men and women, children, from their homes forcibly and transported to these dungeons that we see here, like the Cape Coast slave dungeon, held for 3 months in the dungeon. 3,000 people were held inside the Cape Coast Castle slave dungeon at a time, and every 4 months they were shipped on the ocean, packed into tight ships, sideways in some cases, and defecating on each other and vomiting on each other and dying on each other. And as Professor said, half of them were thrown overboard to the sharks because they died, they didn't make the journey. And then when they got to the other side, to the United States, to the Caribbean islands, to Brazil, to South and Central America, Mexico, they were then maltreated. And they were forced to work against their will until they died. And then the Europeans created a system that said, if you have children even your children will be born slaves. And they reduced us to less than human beings. They treated us like cattle. They treated us as their property, right? And you can do whatever you want with your car, right? If you want to beat your car, if you want to crash your car, if you want to drive your car off a cliff, you can do whatever you want. And that's how they treated human beings. Now, how did that impact the people here in Africa? Well, it disrupted the whole society. Some kings were captured. In fact, at the Elmina slave dungeon, they had the Asantehene held captive there, of the Kumasi, of the Ashanti people. They also had Queen Mother Yasantawa held captive there, and they banished them. We just learned from President Mahama that one of the kings of the Ahunta people who resisted the colonizers, the Dutch in this case, they cut off his head, sent it to Europe, and put it in a jar and place it in a museum. And they just recently, after hundreds of years, sent it back here to Ghana. And we noted that this kind of disruption to the society, when you lose your farmers and your brick masons and your architects and your engineers and your seamstresses and your tailors and your teenagers, and they're captured and they're taken, that disrupts the entire society. We talk about the 12 million people that allegedly made the voyage across the seas to who eventually became enslaved, but we don't talk about the millions that died here resisting the colonizers, resisting the slave catchers. I went to the eastern region, and in the eastern region, I met with the Akuapem people and the Ewe people, and they said they moved to those mountains to escape and to get a higher vantage point on the slave raiders and the Europeans. So that way, if anyone tried to attack them, they would see them coming. There are whole villages right now here in Ghana that are on stilts. They live in the water because they moved there so that they could detect the Europeans or any slave catchers trying to come and take them. So it totally disrupted this whole society, the fabric of African society in the world for hundreds of years. And we haven't recovered from it to this day. And so what I'm saying to the young brothers and sisters is that your way of life was overturned. And the systems that you had in place that you used to live by were, they taught us to think of ourselves as less than, right? They told us that everything that our ancestors and our elders taught us was wrong. It was witchcraft. Don't practice your traditional religion. And then they gave us their religion, and they gave us their gods, and they gave us their ways, and their clothing, and they put their mind inside of us, and they made us believe that they were better than we were, and that their ancestors were more worthy of praise and honor than ours, and it totally disrupted our way of life. And for those of us who were the actual victims, well, we were all victims. We were all victimized, right? Because later they're capturing African people, and they arm both sides. They would give the Fanti guns and have the Fanti fight against the Ashanti, and then whoever won, they take the prisoners and sell them to the Europeans. Some of us were those prisoners, and some of us were just, a young boy and girl that went to the well to get some water, and they were captured and drug off. And I went to the northern part of Ghana, right? I went up to past Tamale. I've been to Wa. I've been to Bokatanga. I've been to Paga. I've been to Bono region. I've been to Kumasi. I've been to Tamale. And what they told me in the north was that no man would go to the market and buy a sick cow. No man would go to the market and buy a lame goat. So they only took the strongest. So if you were strong enough, and they also, because we allowed the missionaries to travel freely around Africa for hundreds of years, these missionaries were actually spies. And they were sending back intelligence to Europe saying, this is where the best farmland is, this is where the best waterways are, this is where the gold is, this tribe has a problem with this tribe. These people they learned our languages, they learned everything about us, and they sent that information back over to Europe. And then in 1884 and 1885, at the Berlin Conference, they call it, the European nations got together and decided that they would carve Africa up amongst themselves. And so they attacked us from all sides. Okay, so what we have now is the British took Ghana, the British took Nigeria. That's why we speak English in those countries. The British took Kenya. That's why they speak English in Kenya. And the French, as we know, took most of North Africa. Yeah. As you know, we're surrounded by French-speaking countries right here in Ghana today. And French is not our original language. English is not our original language. We are speaking the language of our conquerors, of the colonizers, of the Europeans. So if you need to know what the impact was, the impact is that right now, I, an African man, clearly of African descent, cannot speak my native tongue. Yeah. We speak the Europeans' language, right? And all my dreams are in English. So they've replaced my African mind with a European mind. But thanks be to God, you know, that African liberation to me is more than just the physical liberation of the land, which we did with the Osajifo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah in 1957 when Ghana became free forever. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Okay. And then he said that, Osajifo said that the liberation of Ghana is meaningless unless it's linked to the total liberation of the African continent. And not only should the colonizers go away, but then we must unite together and become one United States of Africa. Yeah. Okay? And we should have one central government. We should have one military. We should have one currency. And so that way we can protect each other, and we can, you know, leverage our economies of scale and scope in doing business with the outsiders and with the Europeans and with the Chinese and with the Japanese, instead of being 54 or 55 individual countries and we didn't even draw these boundaries. No. These boundaries were put in place by the Europeans. You want to see what needs to be repaired, the fact that these lines have been drawn, and irrespective of tribal boundaries, irrespective of familial ties, they took us. And, you know, and I just want to thank that there was millions of people who died resisting. We fought. There was a lot of brave generals whose names we'll never know who died on the battlefield trying to resist the colonizers. So we say the number is more like 100 million, not 12 million. That's the number that they give us. But we say it was 100 million because in one battle in South Africa, the Europeans, using the machine gun, the Gatling gun, the early version of the machine gun was the Gatling gun, they killed over 40,000 Zulu warriors in one battle in one day. 40,000 men dead in one day. And that's how they were able to take South Africa.
You know, I was having a conversation with one of my bosses, and she was saying that, yes, all these things were done. We are not saying that they were not done. Yes. All these things are things that happened, but they are in the past now. It's been decades since we even gained independence, and all these things are in the past. Shouldn't we just let sleeping dogs lie? Why do we have to remind ourselves of the pain and have a conversation about reparative justice where, you know, there might not even be any right step in any action in that direction? Why do we have to remind ourselves of all this pain? Shouldn't we just let it go?
Well, I jump in. So, yes, I think it's something that is still affecting us. So in terms of also giving some context, there's a book called Capitalism and Slavery, and that book argues that the industrialization of Europe was based on the enslavement of the African.
Okay.
Without the enslavement of the African, it wouldn't be able to industrialize. So his argument is that when the European realized that they're treating another human being like themselves, less than human and subhuman, they wanted to justify it. We use and enslave people to do things and they're human just like us. How do we justify it? We justify it by saying they are not really humans. They are not really equal to us. They are less than humans. And that ideology and philosophy is everywhere on the planet when people see Africans. Africans are still today. If an African goes to the United States right now, you'll be paid less than a European, even though you're doing the very same job. You have a higher chance of dying by the police because you're African. So, so there's multiple effects. And in terms of Eric Williams' argument, it was further developed by Joseph Inakori, who also argued that after using Africans to produce the Industrial Revolution, you have an Industrial Revolution, you're able to produce, say for example, England, you're able to produce 1 million shirts in a day or a few days. You need a market to sell the thing because you can't buy all the shirts yourself. So he argues that for really industrialization to fully take place, actually you need to create a market. And so what the Europeans did, they went around the planet destroying markets all over the world so that they could sell their product. And they maintained global power by making sure that they're able to sell the product. For example, you have in East Africa, where the Africans before the Europeans came, during the modern era, Africans were trading with China, India, Indonesia. What the European did was destroy the cities in those places, and they made themselves middlemen, so that they buy things from Africans and then they sell it to the Asians, buy things from the Asians and sell it to the African. So they created a global system with them at the center, using violence, using genocide, and then they came and colonized the planet. And sometimes we are taught, even in our educational system, there was some positive and negative of colonialism. You cannot have positive and negative of, say, if somebody rape you or somebody harm you, you can't say there's positive and negative. Really, if a child is born out of the rape, we are not saying the child is bad. But the condition that produced it, we have to condemn that. That shouldn't have happened. And so these effects of what happened during this time period is still with us, and they created a system where they often tell you that the European bring African into the global market and so forth. But Ghana, gold was coming from Ghana, especially Bono region, going to the Mali Empire, and most of the gold in Europe came from Africa during the Middle Ages, before the European came on the coast. What the European did, they repositioned Africa in the global system as producing raw resources. So when you see Ghana selling cocoa, they tell you that, oh, that's the market price of cocoa, but really, it's the Europeans telling Ghanaians and other people in Africa, you produce something, we are going to tell you how much we are going to buy it for. Listen, so you have imagine going to a market and you telling the market woman how much you will buy the item for. But not only that too, they also have a way where the system, also where they could control our currency. They devalue our currency so that $1 is equal to 12 cedis or so forth. It's a global system that creates that, with the European putting themselves at the center, using violence, using colonialism, using genocide to maintain that power. So that system is still structured there. So when Africans try to change that system, when we have leaders like Kwame Nkrumah, like Patrice Lumumba, they end up killing them, removing them from power. And so these are issues that are there that I still think are affecting us, but also to sometimes what is not brought up in the conversation when it comes to the Caribbean, especially Haiti, where I'm from in the Caribbean, St. Kitts and Nevis. When our ancestors were free from slavery, the UK government paid reparations to the slave holders. And they paid that reparation up until 2015. That was about 10 years ago. So we say it's long far and gone, but up to 2015, they're still paying the slave owner for what they claim that the slave owner lost his property, so we should pay the slave owner. And that meant That meant that if you had a Ghanaian relative living in Ghana in 2014, they were playing slave owners that they didn't have anything to do with the enslavement of the African in that Caribbean, but yet they would have to still pay for it. And also too, we have the situation in Haiti where the French government came to Haiti and forced Haitian people to pay the slave owner what the equivalent of $20 billion for they losing their slaves. And when the Haitian people went in 2004, 20 years after their independence, demanding that money back, the French, the Americans, and Canada overthrew that government. So the effects are still happening here. Every time Africans, so even this attempt where we talk about reparations, the reaction, you see the reaction of the European for asking for reparations, saying it's long gone and all of this. But if it's long gone, how do we explain in 2015 that they still were paying the slave owners who were all dead? They were all dead. You know, but the issue too that we bring up, why we bring up reparations, is also too what is important. The global system is shifting. Like 1492, the world shaped in a certain way. After the post-World War II, there was a shift where the United States became the dominant power in the world. But something happened in the world that many people didn't take notice of. In 2017, the Europe and the West, they had the dominant wealth on the planet in terms of resources. In 2015, that shift. There are a group of nations referred to as the BRICS. Their wealth collectively surpassed the wealth of the West. And it's continued to shift in that direction. And so within the next 5 years, 10 years, it is believed that China would become the wealthiest nation in the world, wealthier than the United States, wealthier than the whole of Europe. And this shift has begun to happen. And we are saying too that this shift that is happening is also happening in Africa too, where there is a shift. We see the Sahel state, but also something is very important happening on a continent. In the next 25 years, 1 in every 4 human beings will be an African. Also too, when we speak about the youth, today, 77% of Africans are under the age of 35. That's a very young population. But also too, we have the issue too of where this population, in terms of jobs and opportunity, is not there. Many youths in the Caribbean and Africa wants to go to Europe, but they are declining. Our population increasing. In parts of Europe, some people are having, like, you know, if you have a couple, you need to have 1 child, you need to have 2 children to replace the 2 people. If you have 1 child, it means the next generation will be half of what the current generation is. And in many parts of Europe, some of them are only having 1 children, some of them are having children. So their population is also going down. So they are also concerned about Africans coming to the places where their numbers are increasing, but their numbers are dwindling. So all of these things that are happening in the world, it becomes of an issue because Europeans maintain their wealth through exploiting Africa, and that exploitation continues today. So the problems that we face in Africa, I'm not saying all of it is external, but one of the major problems that Africa faces in terms of resources. If we look, for example, at Niger, Niger sells uranium, the raw resources of uranium, to France at such a low price, and it helped to make sure that they have electricity all over France. That same uranium, if it's used in Niger, everybody in Niger will be able to have electricity. But we have a relationship in the world, in the global system, where it's unequal and uneven, and violence is used to keep that system in place. And so when we speak about reparations, we are saying we want to have a discussion about justice that happened in the past, but also continue today. So if Ghana is selling cocoa, for example, the oil field, the oil that was discovered in Ghana, in the western region, 90% of it is owned by foreigners. In the United States, I believe if a foreigner owned 90% of something that the United States own, they would let that resources stay in the ground until their children figure out how to use it. But when you have a system where foreigners own 90% of your own resources, you do not make profit from it. There's a very few people might make profit from it, but the vast majority won't. When we talk about cocoa industry, the cocoa chocolate industry is a $100 billion industry. Between Ghana and Ivory Coast, who produce about 80 to 90% of the cocoa, they make about 4 to 8% of the profit. You have a global system that operates that way. And that global system is in place. And it was produced during the colonial period. And the transatlantic slave trade was the genesis of this inequality. And so the issue of the transatlantic slave trade being the greatest crime of humanity and the call for reparations, they are closely linked. And we are calling for reparations not to say that we want to destroy the European. We want to build a world that is different, that is made up of greater equity, equality, and through the conversation of reparative justice that can be done. There is another way. There is also another way, and we have seen that another way. There is another way in terms of using violence to reorder the world system. But we as Pan-Africanists, we believe that we should change the global system, the world system, in a way that it benefits the whole of humanity. We don't want to create a hierarchy again where the black man is at the top and woman at the top and then the white people at the bottom. That's the world they have created.
All right, Dr. Martin. So we are going to come back to these conversations because I believe we've been having a lot of conversations around this reparative justice and the need for change and all that, but there seems to be little action that is backing the discussions. So I would like her to return to that, but we have to go on a commercial break and then we'll be back shortly.
National Petroleum Authority say, Mawa Bambo hu hia ukane. Ain't no, stay back and stay safe. National Petroleum Authority, ebo bibia kokose, se fuo tanka enya akwanhia na edane a menko ho nkwaye wadwen se, okosisa petrol anafa ngo no. Ena afin so, menye wadwen se wo ben fuo tanka enya akwanhia ne ho, akwa kodwetwa videos, ana pictures. Na petrol anafa ngo wo hwen so, uhua ko
a short commercial break and we didn't take long at all, and we are back to continue the conversation that we are having in the studio. If you are now joining us, it's Coastal TV Morning Mix. The channel is Digital Channel 514. We are on Facebook and we are also on YouTube. On Facebook, you can find us if you type Coastal TV Cape Coast. You have to add the Cape Coast to it. And then on YouTube is just Coastal TV. You can get in touch with us to, listen to the conversation as it progresses. All right, so Mr. Biggers, you wanted to touch on the impact this has on the younger generation right now. So I'd like you to get into that before we move on.
Thank you very much. So as we know, there's a lot of unemployment in Ghana right now, especially in the youth sector. There's no jobs. The government is the #1 employer. The federal government is the #1 employer in Ghana. And they can only hire maybe 5 to 10% of the population. Right now, I'm a graduate student at the University of Cape Coast. There are tens of thousands of sharp minds, educated scholars graduating from those schools every day that will go and do their national service and then not have a job waiting for them. Why? Because there's no factories. There's no industrialization. The private sector is mostly in the unofficial economy. However, Saudi Arabia and Dubai and those Middle Eastern countries, they have one major resource, and that's oil. And with that oil, those people, the citizens of that country, are able to lift their standard of living to the point where they're all rich with just oil. Well, Ghana has oil, Ghana has gold, Ghana has cocoa, Ghana has bauxite, Ghana has cobalt, Ghana has timber. Ghana has lithium. Lithium is a key ingredient in all of the electric vehicles in the world today, and Ghana has farmland. Ghana has water. Those are deserts. They don't even have their own water, but they are able to live a higher lifestyle and a higher standard of living than we in Ghana. When we've got 10 natural resources that we just named right now, and most of us don't have running water in our homes. So that's a direct impact of the fact that these systems are still taking advantage of us, right? So we have 10 natural resources and we're poorer than people who only have one. We've got oil and all those other minerals that we just named, and they're all being taken out of the country, and 90% of the wealth of our nation is leaving the country and less than 10% is staying in the country. So the country is not developing enough in order to employ all of the youth. And that's why there's such massive unemployment, and that's why so many of my colleagues at the University of Cape Coast and University of Ghana and KNUST graduate, finish national service, and then end up going back home.
This really means that there's really a need for action. After all this conversation about reproductive justice and all that, it means that we cannot just talk for talking's sake. We can't just say it because we feel like saying it because we are wounded and we want to express our feelings. So it means that in all discussions, there has to be an action backing the discussions. I'm asking, so far, has there been any? Dr. Murray, would you help us with that?
Yes. So the issue of reparation or reparative justice is something that is not new. It's something that is very old, but it has made some advancement, especially recently since President Mahama, proposed the resolution that was passed, saying that the transatlantic slave trade was the gravest crime against humanity and a call for reparations. So the next month, there's actually a conference in Accra, June 17th to the 19th, in Accra, where people from all over the world will be there. People from the United States, the Caribbean. People from the United States and the Caribbean are also partners in supporting this conference. People from all over the continent will be there, Asia and Europe. And also, so at this conference, it's supposed to focus on what are the next steps.
Okay.
So out of that conference, it would come out greater detail of what the next steps are. But what is important and what we are pushing for in terms of reparative justice, we have this campaign in the Caribbean and the United States, which has been happening for many years. And for example, the Caribbean have a 10-point plan. Okay. And in the 10-point, it lists 10 of the things that are being demanded from Europe and from the world in terms of reparative justice. And one of them including actually repatriation of people of African descent that were taken out of the continent to be repatriated back to the continent, and European providing the resources, but also education is also a part of it. Getting more education. What we are trying to do actually at the Center for African and International Studies is we are discussing now with the National Archives, where they have items that belongs to Ghana, information about Ghana's history and culture that are stored in their archives. They have taken, as Maurice mentioned, the head of the king that was taken. They have items in Europe right now that belongs to Africans that we are asking them to return them. Now Europe, especially the UK, created a law that if you stole items from the places you colonize, is against the law of returning it. So I like what Ashanti Henny said in response to the King of England, where he said, what kind of king stand behind such a law? That you steal something and you believe that it should not be returned. So we are asking for item to be returned, but we are also asking for a transformation of the global system. For example, they have a system called an organization that we are a part of, the United Nations. The United Organization was started where they have 5 permanent security members, where if they veto something, something cannot be passed. Africans have no place in the Security Council of the United Nations. So we're asking for things to bring greater equality in the planet. The Europeans speak about equality and justice. We are giving them specific things that would bring equality and justice. We want transformation in a global trade. Global trade network where we decide what the price we sell gold for. We decide the price that we sell cocoa for. This is just justice we are asking for. And it goes back and it's linked to the very beginning of the modern era relating to the transatlantic slave trade. So this is some of the way forward that we will be discussing in June, and I think the government and other leaders would come out with specific steps that we should take going forward. Yes.
Can I add something?
Yeah, you can.
So I don't want us to seem like we're just sitting here, we want to beg the Europeans to give us something.
Okay.
No, because what has happened here is when President Mahama set up the gold bod and decided that no more gold would leave the country of Ghana without being processed here in Ghana. And now Ghana, our gold production is the highest in the world. When he said that no more cocoa would leave Ghana without first being processed here. So he's making concrete steps to add value to the natural resources, which is where the real money is. So, and that's going to lead to more jobs and more opportunities. But also, I would look at the Sahel states, where they took control of their governments and forced the Europeans to leave their country, and now they're taking the natural resources of their country, and President Ibrahim Traoré is doing great things for the people. Yeah. Building roads, building hospitals, building homes, building, factories. I heard that one of the Muslim countries wanted to build a lot of mosques in his countries, and he said, no, we don't need mosques, we need tractors. And he bought tractors for his people, and he taught them how to farm, and he took the people out of the jails, and he gave them land, and he taught them how to produce. And so now the whole country is working together to build the nation that they want to live in. So there are some proactive steps being taken right now by our people to do for ourselves, not just, but we will not, stop our petition to the Europeans, because what they did to us, the whole thing is about repairing that which you had broken. But at the same time, we're continuing to do for self, and we are building Africa one brick at a time ourselves. God bless our leaders.
Oh yes, God bless our leaders so much. They are really doing well. They are really working, and we believe that in some years to come, we'll also have something that we can show for all these actions that we are taking right now. All right. So now we want to get into talking about this Saturday's program that is happening at School of Graduate Studies SGS Auditorium in the University of Cape Coast here. And if I want to attend the program, God willing, Saturday, what should be my expectations?
The program is free of charge.
Okay.
Everyone is invited, right? As long as we have space, everyone should come and participate and enjoy the lectures. And so we have a full program. We have partners. Our partners are the Real Ghana Foundation, the Panifest Foundation, GPAM, the Global Pan-African Movement, and CRAG, the Central Region African Ascendants Association of Ghana. These folks have put together, we've donated resources, we've collected monies, we've created an entire program, and we'd be happy to see all of you come and join us on Saturday.
Okay. And some of the leaders that will be attending?
Yes, and so some of the keynote speakers we have, as we can see on the screen, the acting VC who has recently been appointed actually to become the VC in August.
Yeah. Vice Chancellor.
Vice Chancellor. Yeah. Yes, VC Vice Chancellor will be is the invited guest. We also have the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Samuel Ablakwa, Honorable Samuel Ablakwa. He will be there, and also we invited Minister Prescott. He's from Barbados in the Caribbean, a country that is very supportive of reparative justice, and recently it became a republic from being part of the Commonwealth. And he's Minister of Pan-African and Affairs and Heritage. He'll also be a speaker at the event. And so we brought in these key individuals who play a role in terms of issues of reparations in Ghana and also outside of Ghana. But the message we really want to depart, and we invited a lot of youths to come to the event, is that, as I mentioned before, 77% of the population on the continent are below the age of 35. The 1 in 4 African in the next 25 years will be, 1 person rather, in 4 would be, 1 in 4 human being would be an African in the next years. So the world is moving, and the center of the world is moving towards Africa. And so we want to prepare the youths in terms of knowing that the future is, we are in a transition period. Yeah. And we want the youths to know we are pushing the issue of reparations as a means of transforming the planet. Okay. Not merely people see it as compensation for past wrong, but actually changing the global order, changing the global system. So we want the youths to know what Ghana has taken a leadership role on the issue of reparations, and we want the youths to know the details and information about it, and we hope to provide those information at the program on Saturday. And so we're inviting everyone.
All right. So, like you said, you want a lot of the youth to attend this particular program. I just want to know, for the average student, the ordinary student that is coming, what is going to be just one benefit that this student is going to walk away with? So
there are many benefits. Well, item 13 will be provided. Okay. So that's one tangible, very much tangible benefit. But also, we actually want to stay in touch with the students. So we have forms and documents that we want them to fill out, maybe place their name and a telephone number so we could reach out to them and actually build a momentum. Because when we transform the world, we want youth to take leadership into these different positions. Yeah. For example, in the center itself, we are trying to grow the center and make it bigger and stronger. And the people who we want to work in the center would be the youth, would be younger people, would be creating jobs. So the tangible is, some of it is long-term, but it's producing a better place and it's creating greater opportunities, because what reparative justice will provide is definitely Ghana having more control of their resources, and the people who will benefit from having greater control of those resources is the youth and ourselves. So it's both.
I have one benefit as well, and that benefit would be that they will get to come and network with a host of diasporans from the USA and from the Caribbean. These people have businesses. Yeah. They're looking for employees. Yeah. We bring your we want your CV. Okay. We want you to network with us. We want you to exchange information with us. There's opportunities for employment. There's opportunities to partner on business. So the youth should come and meet us and greet us, and let us greet them, and let us see how we can work together.
All right, this definitely means that I shouldn't miss it at all. Yes. I'm going to get my dress ready, and I'll make sure that on Saturday I am there, live and colored. So let's all make it a point to be at UCC, the SGS Auditorium, on Saturday, the 23rd of May, 2026. And make sure that you don't miss it. The time is 2 p.m. 2 p.m., right?
Yes.
Yeah, 2 p.m. So make sure that you don't miss it, so that, you know, all these sweet opportunities that they're talking about, you don't miss out on them. Apart from that, you also get to learn something about being African. So let's all make it a point to be there. I would like to extend this conversation so that we have a long one, but time will not permit us. Nema bebre na ebekoso nyame ya adoma eye ochina University of Cape Coast UCC as a School of Graduate Studies SGS Auditorium ho nti bomodi anse oma empa wo ho yede aseda ebema yaboafo National Petroleum Authority NPA Diesel Gift Shop Amimen's Hardware and Finishes Nestor Ventures and the Test Catering Services. Abuafo na so yase anope ye the morning mix dwumadie no ye de ebreo. na mi team anope nso Coastal TV ye adwuma wa ha sei no Ben na eje omo control niema ewo control room ho ema bibia aye fine na yemfa aseda ne bi nso ema ye CEO message nyomi obo ye shidon my opportunity se share nkran nyame ensure na me ankasa nso adwuma de mi di ho chame no mi din de AFIBA ESSIEN ebeda ya hwefo ase ojane wo Facebook wa mutimi freye na mo kan niema na ekoso wo mo mpatam no nyame ensure mo so wo hwe wo YouTube so and say channel no so 514 ho na nyame ensure na yebesan so ehye bim Coastal TV da so ye wo ha say 24-hour economy no ye de obi asay nti bo mode answer unyi wa video no emfree Coastal TV na e nipa bebre e de maw say ye sorry apa mi team no say mi kan no e de eniema nkae program nkae no e begu akwan mu nti bo mode answer unyi wa video no emfree Coastal TV your own face your own voice. Thank God it is Friday and then you Friday and then you fear that a sweet Fanta blue stick Friday. We'll just take a deep breath and we'll relax. Pia bontin kakra. Why? Air kwa bontin kakra. Call out on your home appliance. Oh your blender now. Oh your fridge. Pia bontin. Na kwa gym from. I say. Na sana etie. Ansa na meko no mama wishi me ankasa me sister. Sister Gladys Emisa. Aka Mrs. Mensa. Menin no call, sorry, I was Shakana English Assembly Church of Pentecost. Belated happy birthday to you. And no my swear she means me and wish but it's never too late to do the right thing. Happy birthday to you. And belated happy birthday to you. Nyamin show na onyo kesi. Happy birthday, Sister Gladys. Na hani the program ni na besi. Ashofoni adofo. Nyame adoma ebesa hia bi mama bye.
Give me one chance, make I be a fighter, provider. Toto for my man, make I be a pastor. Me in Djibouti, make I be a sponsor.